Hello and welcome. We are here for round one of the Magic Mates Monday Cup. I'm
That's
with
it.
my excellent co-host Zach.
That's me. I'm very excited for round one. We're going to be jumping into Dom and Dov. We just took a look at Dom's draft, and he's playing a red-blue deck, and he's going to be up against Dov's red-white deck. Interesting to note, actually, looking at the deck lists for Dom, we're thinking he might be playing a more aggressive variant of red-blue, but he's actually built it full control.
Yeah, it seems like you think Triple Royal Rush would be very tempo-y based,
Yeah,
but I mean, the way you want to play it is a 4-mana. It's a 4-mana spell.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll
Okay.
start off with a land from Dom. Dom has obviously won the die roll, and we'll be seeing how we go. Now, Dom has 4 1-drops that he'll be wanting to get started with.
Yeah, so Dov's playing red-white. He's got 4 1-drops. He also has a Kiri, the red-white
We have
rare.
a Sneaking Guide, so that's a 1/1. You pay 2 and tap it, and a creature with power 2 or less.
Yep, gains
becomes
unblockable.
That's very good against him if he wants to push some damage through, especially
Yeah.
since there's quite a few equipments that I
Yeah.
imagine instant speed interaction.
Dom says go, and Dov gets in for 1 with the Sneaking Guide.
Okay.
Dom does have a Deliberate in his hand that he might want to fire off here to find an answer for Dov's quick start.
How do you like Deliberate in this format?
It's not something that I'm happy to play, I would
Okay.
say, but I think given that Dom has access to quite a few powerful cards in his deck, he probably just wants to dig to them and make sure he can cast his Splash Felidar Retreat as well.
Yeah.
Interesting to note in this matchup that Dom does have access to a Cinderclasm in the main deck. That's the 1 and a red for an instant that deals 1 to all creatures, and you can pay an additional red to deal 2 with Kicker. So that could potentially be a very devastating card in this matchup, given that Dov has 4 1-drops and double Fisher Wizard in the 2-drop slot, which is
And right now
excellent.
we're seeing a Grutag Bug Catcher. I know you were talking about Bug Catchers and how you wanted to have them in Dom's deck.
Yeah.
I think we know where they ended up.
I think we know where they ended up. Not the most at home card in red white, but
Okay.
oh, look at this.
Ooh, double spelling. Oh,
That's an Electromancer coming
and
down.
we can't quite see what that other card is. Oh, no, I thought he was going to help us.
Sure what that is. There.
Oh, Cinderclasm. Oh, this is going to
okay.
be bad.
That's a big play. So
Oh, triple. They
Sure.
kicked it as well.
just to recap what's happened there, Dov has played an Ardent Electromancer, which adds red mana to your mana pool equal to the number of creatures in your party. So on turn 3, he had a Rogue, a Warrior, and a Wizard. So he added 3 mana, and then he played the Expedition Champion, which is the 3-drop 2/3. So it looked like a very great start for Dov there, but Dom has come out with that aforementioned Cinderclasm, kicked it, and got himself a nice little 3 for 1
And
there.
now we got a 1 red mana. Thank God there's no mana burn.
Dom's got to be stoked with the
Yeah.
work that Cinderclasm just pulled there.
And we'll be working on getting the life totals updated for you in a second. We're just trying to make sure. Oh, we got a Chilling Trap. So there we go. Chilling Trap. That card has gained so much weight for me. It's a disruption spell with a payoff and a cantrip. For
Yeah,
1 mana,
yeah.
it's very, very powerful.
Very, very powerful
Seeing-
performer. That's the 3/3 Wizard that has just come down.
Yep. So both players have drawn a card. Dangerous to do against a blue deck.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Often they will find a way to use it first. Like I like that card later on because often you have the mana to double spell on that turn.
Yeah.
Alright, so Dom's just leaving everything up. So we've got
Got a Far-Side Adept on Dov's side of the battlefield. That's the 3/3 Wizard, as well as the Seagate.
Pair Tactician.
No, Seagate Banneret, I think. It's the 1/2.
Is there one too?
Yeah.
Sorry, it's very hard. Sorry about this. The glare. There's a window directly behind
Yeah.
us.
It's the 1/2 that you can pay 5 mana to give your creatures +1/+1.
I stand corrected. Going in with 3/3 for 3, attacking in. What will Dom decide to do?
Tapping 5 here.
Ooh, okay. So dealing.
Synchronized Spellcraft.
Oh,
And in response, Dov plays a Kabira Takedown. So Dom's 3/2 dies, and that saves Dov the 1 damage from the party clause on the Synchronized Spellcraft as well.
that worked out quite well for Dov because I mean now Dom that would have happened in combat anyway, and now
Yeah.
Dom's down a spell.
I do think that Dom is in a better position here. I think he's happy that he's managed to definitely stem the bleeding in terms of Dov's board control early. And I think Dom's deck is definitely favored in the late game.
Ooh, here we
Although
go.
that could change right now. with an
Akiri,
Akiri,
Fearless Voyager.
very powerful card. Not sure why Dom's reading that. He is $120 deep into the format. But, you know.
So just let everyone know it's a 3/3. When you attack with an equipped creature, as Akiri is wanted to do, you draw a card, and you can pay 1 white to unattach a creature, and it gains indestructible in turn. So very good defensive card for a red-white deck.
Yeah, not only that though, but I think these red-white decks, what they struggle with is once they come out of the gates quick, they can quickly run out of steam.
Yeah.
And I think Akiri is a very powerful tool in a source of card advantage, which is quite hard to come across in red-white.
Dom's tapping 4 mana. I think I know what this may be.
Yeah.
Oh.
Let's see. Could be a bluff from Dom here.
So right now we're in the second main phase, so combat's already happened.
So actually something interesting to note here, which we talked about briefly in the draft portion, Dom doesn't have that many ways to permanently get something off the battlefield.
Okay.
He has 2 bubble snares, which he's actually just played here on the Akiri, but this isn't ideal for Dom because Akiri has a very powerful passive effect in giving Dov the ability to draw cards. And despite the fact that it's now tapped, it's still going to be able to draw him those cards. So
it's 4 damage in there at the moment.
I think the only other answer that Dom has to Akiri is potentially a second synchronized spellcraft, but I'm not even sure if that's in his main deck.
I don't know what Dom's drawing right now. That's the other thing.
Looks like he's flooding out a bit here. This could be trouble for Dom.
Ooh.
That's a Kabira Outrider that's come down and given +1/+1 to the Fireblade Charger.
Okay.
Okay,
Into the Royal.
Looks like Dov could have tapped his mana a bit differently there because he's just left his planes up. So if he had left a mountain up when he tapped for the Kabira Outrider, he would have been able to play the Charger again.
Definitely. And here's Dom. Okay, Dom's getting on the board. He has 4 mana up because I believe he did draw another Into the Royal off the first Into the Royal.
Okay.
So chaining these is incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
Still no white mana, and I do believe there is a Felidar Retreat in his hand.
Yeah, in his hand, is there?
I think it's the white card, one of the other white cards there, but it's difficult to see. I think he's just waiting on that land.
Yeah. Okay, so Kabira Outrider back to the hand. Nice little defensive tempo swing there for Dom.
Yep.
And Dov just spewing out creatures here.
Yep.
His board looks solid, but not insurmountable for Dom. I think, given that he's still at 14 life, he won't be super unhappy with the position he's in.
Okay, we've got 2 more one more red mana. So we have with the 4. Okay, so we got double wizard now.
Yeah, so when these Expedition Diviners trade off, Dom's going to be able to draw a card, digging him closer to his planes, which will allow him to play that Felidar Retreat that is lurking.
And it should be noted that we keep prioritizing that Felidar Retreat because it's such a powerful card, and I think that is the end game you always want to play too. I
think Dom's deck has inevitability in that sense. Like I think if you can find that white source, he's definitely going to be favored here.
So Dom just swinging in. This is a pretty big trap, it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, the 3/3 trades off, and the 1/1 is the Fireblade Charger. So that deals damage to any target equal to its power when it dies. So not only that, given that Dov can pump with the 1/2 with the Banneret, that makes Fireblade Charger a 2/2. So he's going to be able to wipe Dom's board right here.
Oh yes.
So the 2/2 trades off with the 3/2. As the 2/2 dies, it deals 2 damage to one of Dom's Diviners, but Dom draws 2 cards, and I believe that's a plains. So we might be about to see a Felidar Retreat on Dom's side of the battlefield.
Alright, so Dom's tapping 2.
Spare supplies. I think that should have entered the battlefield tapped, but I'm sure he'll get corrected for that.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
We have our judge, onside judge Hash, keeping everything above level. There's
and
the plains.
No. Maybe no Felidar Retreat in hand, or maybe he's got an instant to hold up. I guess there's not that much of an incentive for him to play it that turn, since he can't play another land that turn anyway.
Good point. So now all he's doing is just leaving Dov like, oh, what's the plains for?
Yeah.
So we've got the Warrior Lord here, right?
It's Kargan War Leader. That's making his Banneret into a 2/3.
Now a 3/3.
Now he's pumping that. Deals 3 to Dom. Dom goes to 9. I think Dom, if he has that Felidar Retreat in hand, I think he still probably feels pretty good about where he is, but...
Oh, he's drawing.
Okay.
Mara Mystic for the draw. Sequencing this would be very important. Mara Mystic. And then you just want to spew as many
Or maybe he doesn't have the Felidar Retreat in hand.
Maybe not.
Oh, we saw it there, but potentially not.
Magmatic Channeler, the 1/3 rare wizard.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how many instants and sorceries Dom has in his graveyard right now. I don't think he has Cinderclasm into the Royal. Oh no, he would be on the threshold.
Yeah.
So I think that's a 4/4 on the battlefield now.
Yeah. And also just a great source of card advantage.
Yeah, exactly. I think given too that it seems like Dom's flooding out a bit, he has definitely access to enough mana on his side. I think he'll be grateful to be able to pitch some of those lands. Attacks with the 3/3.
Offering the trade.
Yeah.
Pumping it.
Okay. So Channeler trades off with the War Leader. And let's see if Dov can follow that up. And no, he hands the turn over.
The land from Dom. So I wonder what the follow-up play is.
Looks like he has at least 3 lands in his hand.
Yeah, I'm thinking all of those are lands.
Yeah, I mean, I understand he had to trade off there to preserve his life total, but he's also not going to be happy about that because that Magnetic Channeler's ability to pitch his lands and draw cards would have been very useful for him. Oh, now
there it is.
That's a Felidar Retreat off the top.
We spoke too soon.
And now Dom's Flood turns into 2/2s.
Yep. No.
And +1/+1 encounters, so he's going to be very happy about that draw. The Felidar Retreat triggers, and Dom makes himself a 2/2.
Cat Beast.
That is a beautiful Cat Beast token. I love that.
Reminds me of my cat at home.
What a gorgeous
Actually,
cat.
a bit more friendly.
Yeah, very friendly. Love the teeth. Passes back to Dov, who I think has 2 cards in hand. Definitely doesn't have any attacks here without being able to influence the board more.
Okay, we've got...
Down comes the Fireblade Charger.
I think Dov right now... I mean, truth be told, Dom is on 9 life. There is a feasible chance that Dov could squeak by with the right sequence.
I think there is, but I do think that Dom is the heavy favourite at this point.
Oh, yes.
I think, given that he's managed to stabilise and he has access to so much power in his deck... Taking a look at Dov's deck list too, I mean, in general, I feel like Red-White does have a lot of reach. And so if you can get the opponent to a fairly low life total, there are a lot of ways to get them to 0. But Dov doesn't seem to have access to that many of them. He doesn't have a single Royal Eruption. He actually doesn't have a single removal spell in his deck.
It's also worth noting that only 1 disenchant effective. I mean, I would just save it until you have to fire it up on that in the sideboard.
Just looking at his deck list, I think the only thing that might enable him to steal a win here is he does have access to Song Mad Treachery. And that's the active treason effect as a spell land. So it's a tap red source on the back and an active treason for 5 mana on the front.
So in your mind, the sequence would be steal the biggest thing on the field, get rid of a blocker, add 1 to yours, and then swing in and just hope the math works out?
Yeah, but I think that window is closing very fast for Dov. And I think at this point, it's going to be a tough sell for him to get there.
Yeah.
So Dom's flashed in a Living Tempest here to block the Fireblade Charger on Dov's side.
It is worth noting that the Akiri's only drawn 1 card, and it's been on there for several turns.
Interesting though, he did just give the Fireblade Charger indestructible there and unequipped the Utility Knife. So preserved it after Dom's Living Tempest block.
We have Thundering Spark Mage.
Oh, that's not bad for Dov there.
Yeah.
That's going to keep him alive for a little
also
bit
get rid
longer.
of the Living Tempest as well. So a big flying blocker that could close this out.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see when Dom... I feel like once Dom has locked down his defenses on the ground with these cat tokens, he can start putting counters on his Amara Mystic.
Yeah. I mean, the knife equipment that we have on the field there, that does mean that Dom is drawing 2 cards a turn.
Yeah.
And aggro decks, you generally don't want them drawing more than 1 card a turn just to kind of keep their fuel down.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think that, as we said, when that Bubble Snare came down, that wasn't ideal for Dom, because leaving such a powerful passive effect on the battlefield does give Dov more outs to close out this game, but it's still not looking great for him, I don't think, here. Particularly, looking at his deck and not having any access to any removal here, I think is going to be an issue with that flyer on Dom's side of the battlefield. But we'll see what he can do. The Utility Knife goes on to the Spark Mage, and he swings in and gets that Akiri trigger, draws the card. And he can just keep giving these
cat
quick creatures indestructible too.
Oh, yeah,
so He's going to unequip the knife now, give the Spark Mage indestructible, and eat one of the cat tokens. So not bad for Dov there.
Fairly good trade on part of Dov. I pay 1 life, you lose a creature, I draw a card.
Yeah, this is definitely an interesting game. That's a paired tactician that's come down 3/2. When you attack with paired tactician and another warrior, you can put a counter on the paired tactician.
Okay.
So it could potentially go to a 4/3 next turn.
It definitely feels like a good target for the knife, just to keep pumping it up until you don't even need to make it indestructible anymore.
Yeah, definitely.
So Dom is currently sitting on 13 lands at the moment.
Yeah,
So a lot of mana to do stuff with.
And not a lot more lands to draw, so you'd be favouring him to be drawing a spell a turn from here.
Yeah, I mean, Dom's hoping. That being said, 13 lands, I can't imagine there's more than 3 or 4 left, which means only 3 or 4 more cats.
Oh, that's true, actually. That's interesting in terms of the Felidar retreat. So if he's thinking about pumping up this Mystic to speed up the clock here, he might need to do it sooner rather than later before he can run out of lands.
There's one flying blockers on the other side. Oh, here we go.
That's a kicked Geyser Mage, so that's a 3/2 wizard. For 2 and a blue. He's played an additional 2 and a blue, which allows him to return a creature to Dov's hand, and he chooses a paired tactician. And that also triggers on the Mystic. So the Mystic gets +2/+0 whenever you cast an instant sorcery or wizard. So he's now swinging in with a 3/3, putting Dov to 16. And he does seem to have the ground locked down here with another land coming down. That's another cat token.
So, right now I think the advantage bar is... Actually, I would say it's almost level. I mean, yes, we do have the Felidar retreat, but we are running low on time. Dom is trying to be aggressive, but I don't know how much more... Like, how quickly it is. I mean, the other issue is the Amara Mystic does only chunk in for so much damage. You have, like, you want to cast more than 1 or 2 spells that trigger it. I think Dom was playing with a full hand of spells.
Yeah, you'd think so. Tricky position for Dov here. Ground is quite locked down, I think, so I'm not sure how he's going to get through here to get this last 9 points of damage in, but...
It is worth noting as well, Dom has the option of putting counters on his creatures as well, not just making cat tokens, so he can possibly speed up his clock a little bit more.
Yeah, that's very true.
We'll see what he decides as we go along.
One other thing to note, I'm just thinking of ways that Dov can push damage, is that Fireblade Charger deals damage to any target when it dies. So if he's almost at 10 lands, he forces a turn where he equips the Charger and pumps it twice. That does take it to a 4/4. So if Dom's forced to trade off there, that could be 4 potential damage to the face for Dom.
Very good point.
But aside from that, I'm not sure how much reach he has apart from the Songmad Treachery in his deck. So maybe some kind of sequence of plays like that is Dov's only out here to get through, but...
I think Dov's plan right now seems to just be bleeding out Dom's creatures. Because that just seems to be the pattern we're in until he draws... Until like, the impetus is on Dom to answer the passive effect from Nahiri.
Yeah.
Or at least some of the bigger creatures.
Yeah, but Dov is in a clock here. He does... There is an evasive threat on Dom's side of the battlefield, and although it's potentially not triggering every turn, it's still going to be slowly chipping away at his life total. See what Dom can do here with his 40,000 mana.
A lot of thinking here. It's an important turn, I think, for Dom. He definitely wants to make a good, impactful action on the board. Even playing a lamp would do something. Just creating a 2/2 or creating a bigger creature, because you do want to get out of the range of that Charger. Yeah,
definitely. And that is such a... You know, that's what's so powerful about Felidar Retreat. It turns all your draws into relevant draws, you know? If that Felidar Retreat wasn't on the battlefield now, Dom's Flood would have been... a major issue for him, but it's keeping him in the game. I just want to give a quick shout out to
Daniel East, our lovely co-host. Apparently the tokens are his lovely handiwork. He's available on commission.
Yeah.
Oh, not only. Okay. We
Should
have
be,
more people involved.
Should create an Etsy page for him or something to sell his custom Daniel East tokens.
Oh, we have another bubble snare on the paired tactician. That's, I think, a good threat assessment by
Yeah,
Donna.
I think so. And ooh, but that's a Sajiri shelter coming down, which
Giving you
gives
protection.
the paired tactician protection from blue. So that's not
Crucial.
going anywhere off the board.
I think Dom's out of cards.
Yeah, I think so, but he's swinging in now with a bunch of vigilant threats. So this is going to be interesting to see what Dov does here, because I think if he trades off everything here, he's not going to be in a great place.
No.
He needs to keep threats on the battlefield, no matter how unlikely it is looking for him to get there.
Oh, that's a big swing.
Yeah, big life total swing there. That is Dov taking 8 and going to 8. And that vigilance from Felidar Retreat definitely proving handy there, because Dom can now not have to worry about the backswing. That turn has definitely turned the tide very heavily in Dom's favor, I think.
Deep consideration. Okay, we have another bug catcher. We have another bug catcher for Dov. So that currently will be making a +3, I believe. We have a rogue, wizards, warrior.
There's no rogue, I don't think.
Is the
There's
goblin and a rogue?
No, it's a 5-blade charger.
Oh,
that's the warrior.
apologies.
So there's a wizard and a warrior. So
So
right now
+2.
it'll attack as a 3/2 trampler, which, I mean, doesn't really do much against Dom's board.
Yeah, fair enough.
But getting in again, drawing another card off the Akiri.
And I think it was a good play with just playing the creature anyway, because eventually that banneret will start being able to double pump, and then things get really nuts. Although we have another lance.
Yeah, and that's turning into more +1/+1 counters for Dom, who swings with the team.
Mm-hmm. So we have a 2/4 in
4/5.
4/5 in the air, and two 4/4
4/4s.
vigilances.
Not a bad attack from Dom. So Dov going to 4, and will be dead in the air next turn if he can't find an answer to this flyer. He has to line up the blocks, and a second Sajiri shelter coming down on Dov's side.
Very
which
valuable play.
will save one of his blockers, I believe.
Yeah. We do lose the 5-blade charger for the exchange, but Umara Mystic does chonk in. I'm just gonna have a quick look, see what recourse we have to deal with this. And I'm looking at the deck for Dov, and it's all
has nothing.
creatures. He's just got 3 equipment as his spells. That's it.
He really doesn't have a single removal spell, and I don't think he has an answer to this board state in his deck.
No.
Although he is on 5. I thought he was going to 4 after that attack. Not sure how he gained a life there.
Can we confirm life titles desk?
Oh no, apologies. Umara Mystic is a 3/5, not a 4/5.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's correct. So Dov's on 5 here. So he's got 2 turns.
This is standard. We don't have 4/4s that draw cards and then win the game on the next turn. We have 1/3 flyers that do very fun things. Oh, what do we have here? Chilling Trap. Ooh,
And
very
that
nice.
does present Umara Mystic as a lethal threat, and Dov's
that's
good.
game. Dov's seen enough. All right, so game 1. What do you think? What are the priorities of sideboarding this game?
I think on Dov's side of things, he's going to be very scared of that Synthochlasm.
Yeah.
And I think, given that he doesn't really have access to any removal, I mean, I haven't seen his sideboard, but I'm assuming if he had a removal spell, it would have been in his main deck.
Yes.
I think I don't know how favored he is in this matchup, because I think Dom has the tools to stem the bleeding.
Yeah.
I really think that Dov's main hope here is coming out the gates fast and hoping that Dom doesn't draw Synthochlasm.
I think we saw the majority, if not all, of the lands that Dom could play in his deck.
Yeah.
And we only saw the 1 plains.
Yeah.
It's worth noting, Dov does have a Cleansing Wildfire in his deck. I mean, I'm not sure Dom would play the plains in advance, but
that's interesting.
so we have highlights: 3 Molten Blast, Disenchants, Shepherd of Heroes, actually an important 3/4 blocker that will gain him some life if Dom's the one who gets early.
So this is Dov sideboard, right?
This is Dov's side, but I'm looking
Interesting that he didn't choose to run the Resolute Strike main deck. So he has the white 1-mana combat trick that gives +2/+2.
Yeah.
I do feel like he needs access to some ways of getting through these board states.
And it's also an instant speed attachment, which with Akiri is a very good synergy.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that come in. There would be some considerations to disenchant here, I think, given that he's seen double Bubble Snare and Felidar Retreat on the other side of the battlefield.
I think disenchant's an automatic include.
Yeah, it's interesting on the Shepherd of Heroes. It does line up well against Dom's Flyers.
There's a lot of X3s.
But given that Dov's on the play, it's interesting how much he wants to compromise his odds of getting out to a fast start.
Yeah.
And compromising that game plan to bring in the Flyer. I still think it's probably worth bringing in given what he's seen out of Dom's deck, but definitely something to think about.
Yeah. I mean, that was quite a long game. That was longer than I expected it to go. So a lot of the cards are been played on the table, pardon the expression. But...
Yeah. So they do have pretty good knowledge of what's in each other's deck. I just think that the main thing Dov's lacking here is ways to get through.
Yeah.
And I think if Dom can set up his defenses, that Dov is going to struggle to close out the game. So I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe a Molten Blast, the copy of the Trick, and maybe the 3/4 Flyer come in here.
I'll just ask your opinion because we've seen it in Dov's sideboard. Here's a Tuk Explorer, Tuk
Rubble Fort.
Rubble Fort. What do we think about that card?
Never played it.
Never played it.
Not planning on
Your 100
casting
plus
it.
trust.
I don't think you want that in your
The
deck.
passive ability for haste is not even worth it.
I mean, you're basically paying a card to give your creatures haste. I don't think that it does enough to make
It's based just
it
in a
worth
very
the
easily
inclusion.
killed enchantment.
Yeah, he does also have access, this is Dov in his sideboard, to a Sizzling Barrage. That's 1 and a red for an instant, deal 4 damage to target creature that blocked this turn.
Okay.
Not a card that you want to play, and definitely not a card that, without access to a lot of trample creatures, I don't think it really does the job in getting damage through. But given that it has literally 0 interaction, I would be tempted to bring in at least the Trick and potentially the Sizzling Barrage as well, because I think he's really going to struggle to push damage through.
Okay. Considerations for those Molten Blasts as well, or
Yeah, he's seen a bunch of X2s. He's seen the Expedition Diviners. He's seen the Ardent Electromancers. So it definitely does have targets. The Artifact Clause isn't going to be relevant against Dom, but you know, given that he doesn't have any other removal, I don't think it's out of the question. It'll be interesting to see what Dom does here, because he builds his deck in such a way that he's playing more of a controlling role, and he's taken out a lot of his 2-drops actually in favor of other early interactions. So it'll be interesting to see whether he brings some in.
And we're ready to go for game 2. So looking at the hand, we have the Expedition Diviner, and there is a white card poking around the back, I believe.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say whether it is. I've been wrong before.
I'm pretty sure I also saw that Felidar Retreat there, so
I'm just giving the face a big scratch by his mask popping off.
mask off. It's getting serious on Dom's side.
Should know this is a COVID safe event for everyone watching at home. We are masking where possible. Everyone's logged in, and we are the only ones in the store.
Before the draft picks.
Okay. Dov not liking his first hand, going for
Mulligan.
I think a mulligan.
Which you have to say on the play, even with the London Mulligan, he's not going to be stoked about that.
I think, given the amount of 1-drops he does have, I think 6 is a doable thing. Okay, he delights what he sees, puts 1 on the bottom. Oop. With Mountain and Fireblade Charger. So
Yeah, I mean that's what Dov needs here. I think he's really relying on getting off to a quick start.
he does have both colors of mana attacking in,
Love to see it.
and
Block.
Bogcatcher. Ooh.
This is a decent start for Dov. He has a lot of potential strong turn 3 plays here. Dom says go.
And Dom not really putting much of a defense yet. I mean, I wouldn't expect to see much right now, but
Yeah, interesting whether he has Cinderclasm here,
yes.
because I mean, Paired Tactician comes down now. That's a 3/2.
Oh,
If Dom
yeah.
can land a Cinderclasm,
Just you want to see land Syndiclasm past turn.
I mean, it's even at instant speed, so he can potentially
Yeah.
hold it up and wait and see if.
We need to see that mountain though for the kicker, and we don't. That is a worry.
Does have access to the plains, though.
Just back to the place, yeah.
So we are potentially going to see a turn 4 Felidar retreat on Dom's
Would
side
you
as
be
well.
willing to run it in turn 4?
Depends what else I have to do.
Okay. So I'm just saying, no, Molten Blast, get rid of the Tactician. Not about that.
Yeah, I think that's a solid answer from Dom. He's still behind on board though, and that's an Electromancer.
So a double spelling, Utility Knife comes on. Ooh.
This looks like a solid attack for Dov. So
4?
he's getting +2 on the Bug Catcher, +1 from the Utility Knife. So that's a 5-2. 4-2.
Yeah, I believe 5, yeah.
I think it'll be 4 because it's got +2 from Wizard Warrior, and then 1 from itself, so that's 3, and then +1 from the Utility Knife. So it's a 4-2.
Oh, 4-2 plus the 1 damage from the 5-blade charger.
That's it. So gets in for 5.
Okay. We do have something at the front of his hand. Dom is.
Got an Amara Mystic in hand, I can see. Not a great blocker on this board, but
But 1 blew up for a Chilling Trap. That's what you need right now.
that's it. That could be a very powerful play for Tom here.
Because Chilling Trap would make an excellent move against like a 5-blade charge. You play it, no damage is coming from that thing.
Yep. Also, will trigger the Mystic itself, becomes a 3-3, potentially can eat the 5-blade charger and save the damage on the Bug Catcher.
Yes.
He has a lot of options here, if indeed he's not just bluffing the trap.
I mean, I fell for it, so it's probably a bluff.
I mean, yeah. Dom loves to leave mana up where he can.
So we have 2 cards in hand for Dov. He is definitely pondering his thing. I think he's thinking on the board. I don't think there's much currently in his hand he's concerned about. He just wants to just smash.
Yeah. Okay, getting in there with the Electromancer and the Bug Catcher. Bug Catcher currently a 4-2 Trampler. Oh, 4-3 actually with the
knife.
With the knife. Dom lines up blocks on the Bug Catcher, and he does have the Chilling Trap.
He's like, nope, not having it. Just I'll take the 3.
Yeah, and Dom is going to be pretty happy with that.
Drawing a card as well.
Draws a card, eats the Bug Catcher, and no plays from Dov.
No. Only 3 lands, so it must be.
He's got spells in hands, but potentially 4 drops.
I think I see a kitty cat hideaway
Ooh.
in the back. I think he's waiting for that 5th land to really have fun. Expedition Diviner, see that little one?
Yeah,
just on the
definitely got
right-hand
Spell at Street there.
I'm sorry to make it all about this card, but it is such an impactful card that you can't ignore it.
Once it resolves, it's not looking good for the other side.
No.
It's just a land here.
Draw a card. Okay. Dov just trying to get to that 4 mana, I think. That is the important thing, because right now it's his entire turn is using up the utility knife.
Yeah, he did just discard a land to the Fisher Wizard, though. So
we have Felidar Retreat, and we do have Meow. Alright, so
down comes the cat.
Dom a lot more confident in his ability. Oh, Disenchant! Straight away.
Out of the sideboard.
Attaboy.
That is a nice sideboard option for Dov there, and goodbye Felidar Retreat.
2/2 cat for 4 mana.
I mean, could be worse.
And you also technically have taken a card out of your opponent's deck.
Yeah.
That is unclear what that is. I'm assuming it's an
Electromancer, because Dom has just cast
Oh yes, you're
a
right.
Diviner with 3 mana.
So there's 5 damage coming in from the Amara Mystic right
That's
now.
a good attack for Dom.
And he's got 2 very good defensive blockers in those 3/2 Expedition Diviners.
Yep, taking Dov to 15, I believe.
Getting the knife.
Attacks with 2/2. So Dom's board is very vulnerable to this 2-for-1 here. But I think he needs to block. He doesn't want to go to 5. Doesn't want to go to 6. So
the choice is with Dom. What does he want to take out? Because if he takes the which he does, there's 2 cards coming for Dom now.
Yeah, but I don't think he had much of a choice there, given that 7 power in the air with the Mystic and the 2 Diviners, a very fast clock.
Yeah, exactly.
Just to
we do
remind.
see 2nd planes for Dom in his hand. He'll most likely play that for turn. interesting amount of thought that goes through for some of these plays.
Hmm.
We've gotten into the royal main phase.
Yeah, I guess he wants to potentially needs that third blue source,
Okay.
and also giving him the 3 power in the air.
Okay. So we've got 3 power. Dov goes down to 12 life.
And yeah, there's that island. I think he's just drawn that off into the royal.
There's just a pass. Dov with a lot of cards in hand, but not a lot of lands on the field. I think he's a bit screwed right now.
Yeah, I mean, his deck doesn't have many expensive plays, so seems like most of his cards, given that he pitched that land too, I would be inclined to think that he has probably cheap things to do in his hand, but I just don't know how impactful they're going to be.
Well, we did see the protection spell in his hand earlier. I think that's one of the cards. It's a 3-mana spell, so that's why he wouldn't have been able to interact with the
Yeah, Sajuri Shell is just 2 mana, so
2 mana.
he might be able to get that and a 1-drop down this turn. We'll see.
So we've just had block, and
chooses not to fire it off.
Okay.
Instead, just rebuilds his board.
Yeah. And Cunning Geyser Mage for hand. That's a good 3, 6.
Yeah, that's gonna be really nice for Dom here.
Here comes a Geyser Mage to kick.
Triggers
Mara Mystic is
Mystic.
attacking at 3 now. Oof.
Puts Dov to 9. I have to say this isn't looking for Dov again.
Yeah.
Again either. Although Dom's on 8.
All he can do right now is just play the Bug Catcher again, leave 2 white up for the protection spell. Interesting. Is there a lot of double red in Bob's deck? Because that could be the deciding factor. Because he only has the one island, one mountain. Right now.
I don't think there is.
Nope. I am wrong. There is only 1 red and everything.
Yeah. Interesting to note that he chose not to re-equip the utility knife there. Instead, choosing to hold up Sajuri Shelter.
I believe that's a quick cost of 3.
Ah, okay, that makes sense then. So,
Cleansing Wildfire.
figuring the Mystic.
And drawing a card as well. So I think Dom's just trying to close this out as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I mean, there is the chance that he could close it out this turn. Although unlikely, the Mystic's now a 3-power flyer. If he can get 3 more triggers off.
Yeah, 3 more triggers.
I mean, he has a lot of cheap instants and sorceries in his deck. So.
We have seen 1 Chilling Trap already, so that is the 1-mana spell that he'd want to see. And he's just going to come on in.
So he's going to double block, and Dov does have access to the Sajuri Shelter here. I think he's going to need to fire off, but I believe Dom might have an Into the Royal, which could spell trouble for Dov here.
Oh,
and that is not good for Dov.
That is not good.
So Dom draws a card. The Mystic's now getting in 5, and it eats Dov's last remaining creature.
And that poor Bug Catcher's just keep getting bounced like 3 turns in a row.
Dov goes to 4.
It's very tricky. So notably, the Geyser Mage does not have flying.
No.
So it is the Bug Catcher blocking is the option.
Yeah.
And he just decided to equip the knife and leave it up to fate. So Dom needs 2 spells in a row to. Oh.
The Mystic's now 3 power.
And 4 tapped.
Yeah, that's it.
Fist bump. Well,
and that is a quick 2-0 for Dom.
Wow. I mean, well done. I mean, hats off to Dom as well. He played really well against an incredibly difficult opponent. And yeah, I can't say much more than that. It was well played by both.
I think Dom's deck was actually quite well positioned in the matchup. He had access to a lot of tools to combat Dov coming out of the gates fast. That Cinderclasm was game winning in the first game. I think without that Cinderclasm in game 1, Dov would have been in quite a good position to have a quick start. But Dom was able to flip that back around and reset the board, and then in the second game, that mulligan to 6 just seemed like Dov didn't have enough ways to get through without access to any removal. But a solid 2-0 win for Dom.
It does say a lot that Game 2 was turn 1, land creature, turn 2, land creature. That's the typical curve you want in an aggro deck.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't enough. Like,
No.
yeah.
Yeah, I just think really, yeah. I mean, I've said it before, but the main thing that Dom was lacking there was interaction.
Yeah.
And I think as soon as, you know, Dom's creatures I think are on average bigger than Dov's, and once they come down and he has access to so much cheap interaction, it became very difficult for Dov to push damage. I think maybe with a couple of royal eruptions in his deck, might have been a different story. Could have potentially pushed through those last few points. But yeah, quick 2-0 for Dom there.
Well done to him. We'll be taking
Quick
Stream
break.
Master. And we are back. We've got a surprise edition for you today. We have game 3 of round 1 against Damon and Yon.
Yep. It's currently all square at 1-1.
Yon playing a blue-green kicker archetype. Right now we see him with a Lotus Cobra on the field. Very powerful card. And Damon appears to be playing a green-black tokens matter, or
Counters matter, yeah. And he's got that Scythe Cat out on his side of the battlefield.
Ooh.
It's a Rabid Bite on your side of the battlefield, clearing off that Scythe Cat before it can become a big threat.
How do you feel about the Scythe Cat? I'm a little underwhelmed by it.
Yeah, it's a solid playable. I don't think it's something you're like actively seeking out unless you have a bunch of ways to get multiple lands in play a turn, but it's definitely a solid 3-drop.
We have a Hagra Constrictor for Damon. That's one of 2 he has currently. It's a 2/2 right now, and it also has Menace. It gives Menace to everything else as well that has a counter on it.
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like a lot of people are very low on this card, but I've actually found that if you can get high enough concentration of creatures with counters of them and a way to put counters on it, it can do work. I think one of the main problems is that it does open you up to a potential blowouts if it gets bounced after you've made an attack based on the menace, and you have to be aware of that. But I think it's a solid 3-drop in the counters deck.
It's also worth noting Damon has triple Gnarled Colony. That is the 2-mana 2/2, effectively a bear. But kicker 3 enters as a 4/4 with 2 counters on it, and gives everything else trample. So trample and menace is a sub theme with the counters on it. It's quite a high synergy deck for what is, I would say, not the most played archetype.
Yeah. I think if you can find it as an open lane, it can definitely get there. I've had some success with it as well. But
we're tapping out. Ooh, Drana.
Wow. Okay, that's one of the most powerful cards in the set. That's but answered immediately with a Jawari disruption on your side of the battlefield.
Just for the sake of it, I'll just read out what Drana does.
Yeah,
so it's Drana Last the Blood Chief, 3 black, 4/4 legendary vampire cleric. Fly, when it attacks, they choose a non-legendary in your graveyard, and you return to the counter with to the battlefield with a counter on it as a vampire.
One of the best cards in the set, and Johan countering it there with Jawari Disruption is obviously very good for him, and also just goes to show the power and flexibility that you get from including these modal Doubleface cards in your deck. You know, that would probably have been a land in his deck. So having access to that counter there really has changed the course of the game for Johan.
Okay, so we have 5 mana play. I'm just going to pull up Johan's deck list right now.
That's a kicked Field Research. Added the mana off Lotus Cobra for 6 mana play. Draws 3
cards. So let's just round out what just happened. Johan played a 2-mana spell countering Damon's Bomb and then drew 3 cards.
I would say not bad for him.
I mean, I feel like this match, 2 green decks, fairly grindy. I'm more leaning towards the Johan in the advantage bar just because of the blue card's ability to just keep the fuel going.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. And I think, I mean, I haven't seen Damon's deck list, but I think he would be really hoping to have access to either a Blood Beckoning or Thwart the Grave here. Some way to recur, maybe even a Balagad Recovery in green. Just a way to bring back that Drana and get it back to play.
I was about to say, there is one Balagad Recovery in his deck.
Okay, so that could be a potential draw that Damon's looking out for. Something to keep in mind here.
And a Kazandu Stomper, that is very interesting as well.
Yeah.
Kazandu Stomper, I think, is a very good, important card with a modal double face lands, being able to bounce things to your hand. Sadly, there are no DFZs on the field right now, so that card is effectively just a 6/5 trample. But
yeah,
6/5 trample, 6/5 trample.
Solid card. I think it can struggle against a bit against this blue-green deck just because they have access to Bubble Snare and Into the Royal as very strong tempo plays, and if you're tapping out for a 6-drop, you know, if Johan here can bounce it and play something else, that's a big tempo swing in his favor. But
we might see that because there is an Inscription of Insight in Johan's hand that he's about to play, and bouncing both. Oh, that's gotta hurt.
Yeah, that is a big tempo swing for Johan there.
That card is, I am such a huge fan of Inscription of Insight. It's done so much work. I mean, unkicked or not, it's a fantastic card.
Yeah, really good card. I think probably the second best of the inscriptions, above the black one and Definitely behind the green one, Inscription of Abundance, I think it is. That card is incredibly powerful.
So Yon just swinging in, leaving another Marasa Brute down the field. It's another solid 3/3 creature. Just applying really good threats.
He's very ahead on board here, and Damon needs to find a way. I don't think slamming that 6-drop here is going to cut it for Damon, because any interaction on Yon's side on his turn would be devastating at that point if he's tapped out for that.
And it's also worth noting that every one of Yon's lands from here on out is generating 2 mana thanks to that Lotus Cobra. Like, playing that early, especially in limited, is such a backbreaking play if you can't answer it.
Yeah. I think Damon's going to be looking to double spell here. I think if he can't stick 2 creatures on the battlefield here, it's going to be too tricky for him to catch back up on board. I'm just trying to see what that front card in his hand is. It maybe looks like a Balagad Recovery to me, but I could be wrong.
I think you're right. I think that'd be an interesting double spell. Playing that and then another creature this turn means that you can get Drana back for next turn. You can apply that threat, so you're also putting you under the pressure of you need to do something now, or else I'm going to run away with this. Yeah.
Interesting to see what Damon opts for here. He also has a Scale the Heights in his hand, which I don't think is going to be great for him at this point, given that he hasn't managed to stick a creature onto the battlefield. But who knows, maybe he'll want to gain the life.
Maybe. So just looking at Damon's deck right now, there's quite a few 3-mana plays. He has exactly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, including the Constrictor that we saw earlier. Yeah,
and that's still in his hand, so he might opt to get that back down onto the battlefield.
I think Damon's looking for the best possible play, and unfortunately there are just 2 3/3s on the outside of the battlefield. That is best wall in the world, a difficult wall to
and I think the Haga Constrictor doesn't line up too well against the 3/3s.
It's not a defensive creature in any way, shape, or form, I think.
Damon's still thinking about this one here. It's a pivotal turn because, I mean, obviously he doesn't know what's in Yoan's hand, but if Yoan has a Bubble Snare or has an Into the Royal, Damon is in for a world of hurt.
Damon's a very cautious player, and the time I've known him, he always thinks through these plays very carefully. Make sure as much of it can be thought out as possible.
Yeah.
It lands.
And that's
Kazandu Stomper. Okay, I
think he's just accepting here that if Yoan has the bounce spell, I mean, he's going to be in big trouble. But I mean, his alternate plays didn't seem to be much better.
Yeah.
The Constrictor's not a great blocker on this board, and
he just wants to. Okay, if you attack me now, I'll eat one of your creatures. I'll slow down that clock as best I possibly can.
And if you have the Insta Royal, I probably lose either way, no matter what I play. So,
using all your mana, key point of any limited format, just use as much of your mana as possibly can every turn.
Okay, so no Insta Royal, but that is a kicked Tazim Royal Mage. So he's brought back. I didn't actually see what instant. I think it might have been the field research potentially.
Potentially, yes. I'll just be diving through Johan's deck list.
I think he actually brought back the Inscription of Insight.
Oh, okay.
So that is going to be a big problem for Damon next turn. He's on 10, and Johan has exactly 10 power on the board. So if Damon plays one creature here, he loses.
Yeah, he needs to double spell.
He needs to double spell just to stay alive, and he's still going to be in a very, very precarious position. So interesting to see what he does. Okay, Scale the Heights. That does take him out of lethal range.
It does.
Gain 2, draw a card, and put a counter on the Stomper. Damon's back to 12.
Drew an Iridescent Horn Beetle. You can play that now. He also makes a 1/1 insect.
Yep, that's correct. So he'll get that at the end of turn. I don't think he has a land in hand, though, which he does need here to be able to cast the Horn Beetle for 5.
Damon was looking for something that wasn't going to come.
Yeah. Horn Beetle would actually be quite nice for him too, because it would trade off with either the Royal Mage or the Cobra. That's the 1/1 it makes, even after getting bounced. I
was saying earlier that Yuan is a bit of I thought a dark horse in this tournament, just based on the level that we have.
Yeah.
And he's putting in an amazing performance. This deck, he was concerned about this deck initially, but
I mean, he's looking in a very strong position here, I would say. It's a really tricky spot for Damon to get out of. But if anyone can do it,
it's Damon.
Okay, down comes the Constrictor, and I think he's just gonna
He's gonna play the land.
plays the Balagad Recovery tapped.
Okay.
So,
What have you got?
I mean, he's playing that tapped, and that does make sense because he's expecting Johan to bounce his 2 creatures here with that inscription. So when he replays the Mammoth, the Kazandu Stomper, sorry, he can pick the Balagad Recovery.
And now we have a kicked inscription. So we have illusions, drawing cards, and bouncing.
And
Such a
Damon
powerful
goes
play.
2-2. So I can't really see a way for him to get out of this here with 4 lethal threats, 5 lethal threats, sorry, on Johan's side of the battlefield. I mean,
Is there a card in this set that can get you out of it? Is there a fog in this format?
what about a Roiling Regrowth? Get 2 planes into Ondu Inversion.
There we go.
There you go. That's an out for Damon. Don't think he has either of those cards in his deck, but I think aside from that, I don't think he
But the
is.
pathway exists. That's the important thing. And we did see an Ondu inversion in the draft. Maybe Damon picked it up.
He wouldn't even have enough mana, I
No.
don't think. I think this is going to be an upset in the first round, pending some act of God on Damon's side of the battlefield. But let's see what he can do. It's a Horn Beetle. Not going to cut it.
3 mana. What are we saying?
Make 2/1/1s.
Okay.
Still dead on board.
Yep.
But I like the thought.
He can deal with the Cobra.
Yeah, I mean he dies to the Alpha here, and he's tapped out. So I mean, unless Johan somehow doesn't see it,
Yeah.
which I highly doubt, I think
He
that
tapped the token.
is going to be the game.
That's the game. All right. Well done
Wow,
to
big
Damon.
upset we have to say there in the first round. Not
Huge.
in no way underestimating Johan's ability because he's a fantastic player, but Damon did come into today as probably
Hotly favoured.
yeah, a very hotly favoured contender for the win. So big props to Johan for the win.
And like on the face of it, if I look at the 2 decks, just in terms of creatures on board especially, Damon's deck is full of powerful, on synergy cards. I guess it just goes to show of disruption in this format.
Yeah, I think it also goes to show potentially the weakness of black-green as an archetype compared to blue-green, which really is one of the premier archetypes in the format. And just looking at the powerful interaction and tempo plays that Johan had access to there, it's just kind of hard for Damon to keep up, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, great win in the first round for Johan.
Well
And
played to both of them.
yeah, we might cut to a break now and come back shortly for round 2.
Just before we...
after round one. My thanks to Liam and Zach for their admirable job. And a couple of surprises from round one.
Yep. Tournament favorite Damon has been knocked out. He had a stacked black-green deck, but Yoan was able to get there with his blue-green deck. I saw Roost of Drakes doing some work, as it tends to do, and a very timely... I can't remember. It's the counterspell, which is a flip land. Flip card.
Jabri?
Yeah, taking out
Disruption.
one of Damon's mythics was a real killer blow for Damon. We have some other results. Chris Lynn was able to defeat Dennis to advance, and we'll soon be featuring in our next matchup on the stream.
Oh, so we're going to see Chris on the stream, because it's quite an interesting deck, the green-white deck that he's assembled.
Absolutely, yeah, it is. It's a green-white party deck, sort of, which is not, normally how the green-whites tend to go, but it's a very good deck. I'm excited to show you it.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll be up against Damien, who was able to defeat Jim Bandis. So just to clarify, we've got a Damien and a Damon. Damien is through. He's also worth mentioning. He made the final, or the grand final of this tournament last year.
Last year, I remember. I believe he was on. I thought it was blue-red, but I was corrected before. Maybe
last year, or
yeah.
last year I think might have been blue-white, which funnily enough he's once again playing.
Oh, playing
party deck as well,
and managed to pip Jim. So it must be. He must be on fire, frankly. If
yeah, I spoke to Damien before, like after the draft, but before round one, and he wasn't feeling great, but he's got there, so must be better than he thought. I think we're about to get going. Yeah, a few other noteworthy things with the decks. Chris has got a red splash. I think he's
splashing for a Royal Eruption that I saw.
Royal Eruption, yeah, might be one other red removal spell.
Okay, yeah. Damien's also picked up a copy of the white mythic Destroy All non-land permanents. So that was quite interesting to see. Looking at Damien's curve, I was able to look at the deck list earlier. It looks like Damien's deck is relatively low to the ground, a lot of flyers, get out early, and he has this massive reset button. So that's an interesting tool to have at his disposal.
Yeah, that reminds me, Chris, I believe he has a white flip land mythic himself. This one,
that'd be the angel.
The angel one, yeah. So
yeah.
Yeah, green white. It's normally a pretty aggressive landfall base, but Chris has got a really unique take on it. He's excited to.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see, because he does have the one white drop cleric, which I believe is a rare. Yeah, it's a rare, which gives something +1/+1 and flying if you have a full party. In my own pick order, that's relatively low. Like I might pick that in, I don't know, like maybe a cleric's deck. It hasn't really seemed to find a home.
Yeah, I think generally speaking, it's proven fairly difficult to consistently put together a full party, and so most of the cards which get a bonus from that have sort of dropped down in most people's pick orders. But it's great to see Chris getting some utility from it today.
Oh, it's like your own D&D campaign. It's hard to get a full party, but a half a party, that's pretty easy to swap.
No trouble.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess I haven't heard any of your thoughts on the format itself. Do you have a deck that you prefer playing, a color you want to stay away from?
I think one of my favorite decks is the green blue Roost of Drakes decks. Of course, if you don't get the Roost of Drakes, it's not much of a deck. Beyond that, I found Warriors quite consistent. Not, it's a bit boring, but it seems to get the job done. I'm one of the people who doesn't mind playing green, so like I've actually had some success with black-green counters. But yeah, I think some of the stronger decks are certainly the likes of clerics.
I had an observation about clerics as well. I was speaking to a friend about it yesterday, doing some research for the stream. I think the clerics deck, like the sort of the B-grade clerics deck, is relatively easy to assemble if it's open. But I found when I played it a couple of times on Arena, there's actually a couple of really key cards that if you miss out on, you can kind of feel a bit underpowered. Like obviously the omelet, the cleric omelet artifact thing, something that's really, really important. But one of the key cards I found would be almost like bomb level strength, is that 2/3 uncommon for 4 that makes a cat every time you gain life. That thing really supercharges the deck.
Absolutely, and that's there seems to be sort of two ways the clerics decks go. One being sort of a bit of a combo deck with the card you just mentioned, the 3/2, but whenever you gain life, they lose life, and the 1/4 where you make creatures. So that's one way you can go. The other is just to play the rares and the uncommons will all get bonuses in various ways from life gain or clerics.
Oh, it looks like we've started.
So here we go. We've got this on the play here.
Two planes staring off against one another. Okay, so Chris's opening play is that looks like the 2/2 cleric. Like has vigilance naturally and gains lifelink if you have another cleric. Damien is going to respond with. So that's the 2/1. I'm going to call that guy Jeffrey. That's the one I believe it becomes unblockable if you play another party type. A creature enters this battlefield and becomes unblockable. Chris offering the trade. What do you think you'd offer the trade there? Do you read a trick or?
Chris offering the trade. I think more likely than a trick. Damien's card sort of gains value. You know, it's a bit stronger in the late game, so you don't mind trading.
Sure. I can't see what that card is because of the glare.
I'll try and get a message to our team to see if we can slide the cards a little bit. We've got some glare issues, Alex. We could.
Our producer is sprinting down the back as Damien plays.
Hopefully have that fixed. Do we know it's a 3-drop? I wonder if we can speculate. It might be a little difficult.
It's green, I think, but I'm not sure. Damien's played the 1/4 gaining life here.
Core Celebrant, I think it is.
So what do you think of that card if you're not in the dedicated life gain deck?
So it's interesting. In blue-white, it's not usually the strongest, but it does a few things. It's a cleric, you know, we know Damien's playing a party deck, so it helps get his party tally up. It's also a 1/4 that blocks most things on the ground while gaining a bit of life. So if you have evasion, if you could put a clock together through flyers or say this unblockable creature that Damien has, then it can sometimes just buy you enough time just by virtue of being a good blocker, which gains a bit of life for you to win the game. So I don't mind it here.
Okay, so Chris maybe taking back the attack there. The card was revealed to be the 2/3 wizard. It has a kicker cost. That means that you force something to block a creature that's nominated. Again, he's played a 4-drop right into our blind spot, but I actually think that might be the 5/5 vigilance.
Oh yeah, he does have 2 of those in the deck, and it would make sense with a wizard and a cleric already on the board, but it would cost 4. That's a really good turn for Chris. So we've got slight advantage, Chris here. I don't know what Damien has in his hands. Could easily turn the table, but yeah, strong start for Chris.
Yeah, both in blue and white. I'm not sure what's in Damien's deck, but both blue and white have the enchantment-based removal. And here he's binding and foam trap, bubble snap.
Bubble snap. Yeah, that's a good point. So like larger green creatures aren't usually, they're not impossible to deal with.
Like something like maybe red-based removal might struggle against the 5/5.
Yeah, red and green typically struggle against larger creatures.
I'm thinking about his turn here. It's interesting some of the synergies of the party mechanics asking you to play creatures before combat. So what we might see here from Damien is a party type to make his trap finder unblockable there, leaving up 1 blue. Obviously the pack beast has been an all-star on the format. How highly do you take it in the pick order?
I'm pretty happy taking it sort of 4 through, like as high as like pick 4. Occasionally, you know, if you've had a really strong party themed start to your draft, you could take it pick 3. It just is. It's a very it's just a surprisingly useful card. I mean, a lot of the time, you know, your party decks to get there, you know, to go the distance, are short just 1 extra type, and you know, having something which is just gives you whatever you want, it's actually proves to be quite valuable. And you know, it's serviceable bodies.
Yeah, not embarrassing. Chris has moved to the flunge step here, and it looks like Damien is thinking about double blocking the cleric. We've got a little bit of a pause on the screen here. I hope.
Seems like we're back.
Yeah.
Fortunately, that double block might have
Yeah,
been
he's decided
made.
to double block, nominate the pack beast. I wondered if it might be something. So that's the rogue that shrinks a creature and mills.
Yep.
Chris, interestingly, has milled a mountain there, which could be
That is actually very interesting. When I spoke to Chris just before this, and asked to have a look at his deck, he was like, "Yep, just let me, de-sideboard," because he'd only just finished his previous round. And what he did was take out one mountain. The round before, he'd been versing the mill deck, rogues, I guess you call it.
Right.
So he'd put in a second mountain, which heads up play to avoid getting color screwed. Now, he wouldn't have necessarily expected this, but he's lost one of his mountains. Does he have another one? It looks like he could.
Yeah, I don't think he would play.
Oh no, I don't think I saw a mountain there.
He doesn't.
Oh, so that's interesting.
That is very interesting.
So we know now 2 of Chris's better cards are now dead draws.
So
I'm not sure if there are any in his hand. I couldn't tell from that.
Yeah.
But that's going to be quite painful for Chris. But, all that being said, he's still in a good spot here with that 5/5 so somewhat dominating the board.
Large boys in charge. I'm not sure if Chris, I'm going to pull up the deck list now. I'm not sure if Chris actually has a pack beast of his own, because he might be able to filter into red mana if that's the case. But
That's an interesting point. I could be still yet away from to play those red cards. So what have we had here? Is that a Core Blade Master?
yes. So that's the 1/1 double strike, and equipped warriors get double strike as well. Interesting.
You'd see Damien's quite lean. A lot of different creature types. Getting those party numbers up.
Oh, actually, interestingly, there is an out for Chris. He is running a copy of Barligad Recovery in his deck.
Okay.
Which means if that mountain...
Yeah, that's
is,
interesting.
Key for him to get back, he should be able to get it back with that. Looking at Chris's list now, it looks like a bunch of large boys that are in charge. And it also looks like we have a pack beast. What's happening here in the game?
So, it's hard to say who's in front here. It looks like Damien would be fairly happy with his position, but Chris hasn't played too many spells yet, so we know he should have a fair bit to do.
Chris offering the 5/5 here.
And then we've got the flyer, 3-mana 2/2 flyer, can return land to the hand. He doesn't have any flip cards played as land at the moment. That's where you tend to get value out of that flyer. But it could be a bit of a clock.
Interesting. Is that a full party? I see rogue.
There's a lot of
warrior.
creatures
That
out.
is, and the pack beast as
We've got
well.
a rogue, and the pack piece surely gets it there. So is there anything that benefits from full party on the board?
Yes, the trap finder will draw. It gives everything that hits draw a card, and because it's got unblockable now, it draws a card.
Okay, so that's a very useful combination Damien has. Pressure here is on Chris to deal with this. He's also getting hit. His life total is getting chipped away at. So good spot for Damien.
Yeah, and Damien's got a fair bit of life gain on the table. The 2/2 cleric, as well as the 1/4 that's going to be incidentally popping up a couple of points of life. Looking at Chris's list as well, I think that attack with the 5/5 was really heads up play. He's not playing any combat tricks, which means that was just all guts and glory. That Raptor's a hard card to evaluate sometimes. I definitely always would play them, but how much do you think the spell lands increase the value of the Raptor?
They do a bit. I think you want to have a few of them though. I think a lot of the decks, they do tend to want party members, and so I think all cards which don't have a party creature type, have underperformed slightly, with some notable exceptions. But yeah, it's a serviceable card, right? Like the rate is fine. Occasionally it will give you value. Okay, here we go. Had a feeling this could be coming.
So Chris,
We've got angels.
We got angels. We got 2 of them, in fact. And Chris looked like he was just ramping to nowhere, or perhaps even just thinning the deck with that sack of land. Go get 2 more. There are angels in America, and there are angels on Chris's board state.
Okay, so this makes the game quite interesting because Damien's life total is fairly low, and actually with this attack, Damien is could die as early as next turn. Of course, he can gain some amount of life with the cleric, and he might have spells of his own to play, but that was a big turning point for Chris.
Interesting.
Okay,
So
that is a really good answer for one of them. The 3-drop wizard, of course, kicked, bounces a card, hit targets an angel, so that's dead.
triggers the trap finder, so that will be blockable and get another card as well. Do the 4/4 angels from that land have vigilance or just flying?
That's a good. I don't know. I think they're just I think they're just
have flying.
flying. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll wait and see if the angel is turned sideways in the next combat step, because
The Damien would love to get some extra damage in and try it, but the board's fairly well controlled by Chris with that big 5/5 and the angel blocking. Damien tapped out, so Chris can really have at it here.
okay. So
That's
clearly
6
doesn't
in the
have
air.
vigilance.
Don't think there's any options for blocking with
Okay.
Damien. Now we've got a card out of print.
screen. Oh,
We'll do our best to
okay.
figure that out. Oh, and then a little bit of life. Okay, so this is advantage firmly Chris here. Damien's going to have to pull something out of the bag.
The
You need multiple removal spells.
He's played the 5/4 ascetic there, gains 3 life. Rare good cleric in green as well. This has really seemed to assemble a real party of guys here.
Yep. Yeah, I was quite impressed by how easy it did appear for Chris to get a full party going while being in green. He made some sacrifices, some strong cards you usually associate with the green-white deck only getting a spot on the bench. But Clever Inclusions, for example, this 3-drop came out. That's a wizard. But it's generally a hard creature type to get in white-green, but inclusions like that do help a lot.
The second ability on it can be a little hit and miss, but yeah, definitely filling up.
Yeah,
the
it's certainly good to have access to. Okay, so this
is a remarkable.
This is an interesting play here. This will bring Damon, if he can now play a creature, he's no longer dead to the flyers. Because what he's done is he's played the party blue-white gold card, which allows him to draw cards and gain life. I saw him do this trick in the round 1 to good effect.
And he's played another cleric here, which also gains life. That's the spell land.
Very
cleric.
interesting. He really needs to get damage, and that's the problem. He's staying alive, but he's eventually going to die to these flyers unless he can close out the game. And even though he's got lots of cards, doesn't seem to be a way through.
I think they're just discussing what the life total actually went up to there. I know the cleric gains 2 upon entry, and then we should get 1 more from the celebrant. Damon with a grip full of cards. Ooh, now
Okay.
he's pushing for the light.
Interesting. So this should be a pretty straightforward block for Chris on the life. And I think he's probably attacking with this just to get some extra life.
Well,
while
one
he
card
can.
that might be being represented by Damien here is the Allied Assault, the white combat trick that gives a creature.
That's
+X,
really
+X.
interesting. That's really interesting. And I think
It's
there's a
resonance.
trick. Yeah, that's interesting. So there were blocks that Chris could have made there that would have played around that. But perhaps fearing what you said, he's gone this route. That's that's a pretty good turn for Damien considering the position he was in.
Well, I mean, 2
And
mana.
look, here we
draw
go, another
3.
creature. So Damien's actually going wide here. Chris might even have to be forced to hold back, which is an astonishing thing. I mean, I'd be surprised if he didn't attack with at least one creature, but with all that Damien has, wow, this is a great game to start the round. I really don't even know who to give advantage to.
Well, Damien's
Yeah.
been drawing so many cards, and he's so wide at this stage. I think Chris is just trying to figure out the danger of what his life total really is. Yeah, remarkable sequence of turns from Damien.
Oh,
But
he's
Chris-
getting aggressive.
Chris just doesn't care. He says,
I mean, perhaps he knows it's actually best just make this game short now that Damien's drawn so much.
I like that reasoning as well. And passes
And
all
that
the
was
mana
it.
up.
Wow. The real opportunity for Damien. He's going to have to be fearing something.
Oh, tap down the last.
Oh,
two
that could be it. Oh my
creatures.
goodness.
That is.
Is that lethal?
That's.
Oh
gotta
my
be-
goodness.
He's
What
turned
an
a lot of cards.
incredible turn of events.
Plunged.
Wow.
Wow.
Jesus Christ. That was incredible. Like, looked all but done.
Yeah.
Like I was trying to work out ways that Damien could stay alive.
Mm.
For him to then win within 2 turns, astonishing. And you know, credit to him because the blue-white deck is not the most popular. I think people expected it to be a little bit better than it was, but we're finding that the decks which don't have, you know, the option of going into a tribal deck are generally harder to put together, simply because you have less options. And so, you know, that would have been a hard draft to navigate. He's taken a risk on getting there with some of these party cards, but he seems to have built it really well. Taking advantage, I mean, with the deck he's built, he's able to cast that gold cover, you know, 2 mana, so that's a gain 3, draw 3.
It's almost
Just goes to
legacy
show.
playable.
Yeah, it goes to show, you know, that you got to think outside the box sometimes and it can really pay off. So that was very impressive. It'll be really interesting to see what happens here in game 2.
I think it also backs up what Zach was saying earlier in the day. I know you weren't present for that part, but I think you've had conversations either with Zach or other people as well, that this is a set that rewards synergy. And what we're seeing is the more synergistic decks that are more narrow and easier to pick up on. The Wizards deck, the Clerics deck, they haven't performed maybe because people have been fighting over the ingredients. I've never seen a white-blue build like this, and I've also never seen a green-white build like this either.
Yeah, it goes to show, you know, the level that these guys that they're drafting at, where they are able to go off the beaten path a bit. You know, it's one thing to get a bit lucky and to put together like the greatest Clerics deck, but to succeeding in a competition like this with somewhat lesser known strategies, it's very, you know, very, very interesting.
Absolutely. One of the things that might be interesting to think about, audience at home, do we have anyone in the chat, Alex? Let me speak to the people then. That one of the things that's interesting, one of the things I think I've struggled to adapt to as a Magic player is how to see the deck as less than just creatures and spells and more as role players. I need a card that does this. Well, this creature is normally bad, but in my deck, this card's excellent. I had a conversation with Dom earlier today where he said that the Syndiclasm in his deck, you'll remember from game 1, was important because he doesn't have any 2-drops. That it's such a great role player in his deck.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it really opened up, I feel, the direction that he ended up going with the deck, which was as more of a control deck. Apologies if this was already discussed in round 1, but yeah, you know, Dom's deck had a lot going, but the one thing it lacked by normal standards was that aggressive start that makes, you know, your bounce spells and cards like that more powerful. But because he had access to that Syndiclasm, he's been able to go in a different direction. So again, very heads up play.
Yeah, and you can use the bubble snares as early, cheap interaction for smaller creatures, confident in the fact that if it does get into the late game, you have answers for other things that might be larger and might usually require bubble
Absolutely, yeah. Bubble Snare is one of the best common blue removal spells we've seen in a really long time.
Mm.
The flexibility is just,
Mm.
yeah, exceptional.
Do you have any thoughts? I mean, I guess there's a lot to talk about with Wizards and Wizards products at the moment. I mean, overall, I think the draft environment has been fantastic for a while now.
Yeah, I think we've had a really good run of sets. I think, of course, the core set is always a little bit lighter on strategy and depth, and that's to be expected. That's for a reason. But aside from core set, I think it hasn't been since Ixalan, since the set has really disappointed. Yeah. Which is great, and I think this set in particular is the best I've seen in maybe as much as 3 or 4 years.
Absolutely.
I think just the amount of options that you have at your disposal. There's so many different ways to build each color pair, each deck. Makes it really enjoyable to draft and gives it a lot of replayability. We're seeing people still discussing, after it's been out quite a while, and still discussing the best way to go about each color pair, which is great. It's exactly where you want to be.
Absolutely. I mean, and the presence of a mechanic like Kicker, which is in a sense evergreen. There's that old meme about every mechanic is technically Kicker, right?
Yeah.
You have the spell, but the spell does something extra if you meet the conditions. But the Kicker mechanic's almost not oppressive in this. Like, it just fits right in next to the spell lands. And these like cost reducers in party types.
Yeah, it is really good. I mean, there is, we talk about synergy a lot in terms of decks, but there's also synergy within the play environment. And we have things like landfall, which encourage you to play a lot of lands. The fallback, normally you play a lot of lands, you end up flooding more. When you have Kicker, it's all of a sudden there's more to do with your lands, less flood. Similarly, the flip lands, right? They solve the problem in the same way.
Yeah.
And that's a good draft environment. It's a little bit, more play to it than, say, core set, where you've got your creatures generally slanting aggressive, a few tricks, and then if you mistime one of those tricks, it's hard to come back. All right, here we are for game 2 of round 2.
Well, this is their first hand, so hopefully they'll both keep a 7, and then we can commentate the game. Also, what's your feeling on the playmat rankings here? Because I've got Anime Narset as close to an A or A+. It's really quite...
Yeah, I'd be surprised if there was a stronger playmat
in the store
available at the moment.
Yeah.
I think it's not to say that Damien's playmat, I don't know if it actually belongs to him, but the one that he's playing on is a bad one. It's just that Anime Narset is very, very powerful.
Well, just like drafting, you really have to get lucky on the day.
I think you get to draw 8 cards at the start of the game instead of 7 when you play with it.
It's when the playmat is like provably stronger that. I mean, and Damien hasn't brought... I mean, do you remember the card? I know it's from Khans of Tarkir. Was that the... that's Duress, Alex, our producer. And all round...
That's Duress, that's what it is it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Quite a
Interesting. Okay, hopefully we get as exciting a game as we just had in game 1. I think Damien is on a mulligan.
So they both mulled, right?
Oh, did they?
On to 6.
Very interesting.
Chris
I think
indicating-
the mulligan will favor Damien slightly, just because Chris's deck is a little more expensive, but it really could just comes down to what they draw in this second 7.
Damien also
become
having more
6.
card draw as well, perhaps. Might be easier to pull out of the...
So I'm trying to count Chris's cards. I'm not entirely sure he did mulligan. In any case, we've got Damien with a creature on the board already.
That's the 1/1 flyer that was used to such effect last game. So, okay.
So this is a really aggressive start. This is, 2 cards. Is that? It's the flyer
that steals a commander plant rather.
Yeah.
Mr. Steal Your Soul Ring.
This is probably not what Chris wants to see. His deck is really about the end game. So if it's early pressure, especially pressure in the air, I don't think Chris has all that many answers. Sideboarding will be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if Chris, if he has access to it, brought in some anti-flyer technology, as it does tend to happen against white-blue decks. But
What
for
would you
now,
Yeah, what would you be thinking if you were sideboarding and you were Chris against what you just saw?
I'm not sure if he saw a great deal of flyers, but I would be considering just taking a gamble on that.
Blue-white
On
being.
yeah,
Yeah.
on that on some anti-flyer removal.
Okay, interesting. So, again, now this is another example of a card that is so frequently overlooked in the Wizards deck. So this is the Hill Giant that lets you scry Cascade Seer. And Damien scried 3 there, which
It's
certainly...
about as good as I've seen it play out. And it's funny you mentioned the Wizards deck, because I think that's where everyone thought it would fit. But not only is Wizards somewhat clogged at 4, but Wizards doesn't play many creatures outside of Wizards. And so, like, you're getting only Scry 1 most of the time, which is not really good enough these days for a 4-drop, 3/3. But here, looking quite good, especially considering the mulligan. That this could give some consistency to Damien's draws.
Now, Chris has played the 2/3 Root Grazer here as well. That's a 2/3 with Vigilance that taps to... Oh, wait, no, it... Actually, I forget the abilities.
You can return land to your hand is one option.
You can also put a land...
And you can also put a land into play. So that's a more traditional green-white card. Very landfall based. But it's always going to make the cut. And we just have an update from our other games. Dom, our feature drafter, is up a game and apparently looking quite good in game 2. So might well have Dom back on the stream today. Returning to this.
So I think we are... Okay, we're on... No, we're on Damien's turn, and he's flunged. He sent the whole team in. I think it's a good attack, because Chris doesn't seem in a great position to...
Yeah, so this is a suspicious attack, because this 1/1 flyer is getting... This 1/1 flyer cleric is getting eaten at the moment. And so I would be surprised if Damien doesn't have something here. Chris, of course, making him show it. I wonder if there's any chance Chris has something of his own here, or if he's just decided, you know what, I can't just let Damien...
Prank me like this.
Yeah, I gotta keep him honest.
Particularly relevant as well is if the combat trick that Damien wants to play prevents him from playing another creature. Another large creature on Chris's side will allow him to stabilize, hold the ground.
It's a bit of a tempo swing. So yeah, I like this block from Chris. You kind of have to go for it sometimes. Okay, allied assault. Whoa!
The allied
Super
assault.
aggressive allied assault here. Oh my goodness!
Wow!
Wow!
How much damage?
He's
is
really.
that?
I mean, he's had two different ways here where he could eat the fly, but he's gone for straight damage.
Whoa!
Is that lethal?
That is.
Wow! Oh my goodness!
We are a turn behind because Damien, out of nowhere,
Wow! 2 games
hits
in a
Chris's
row.
pocket. That was outrageous.
Absolutely astonishing. I'm like, what is he doing? Like, is he just wants to put him on a
He's a
clock so that he
madman.
can win the
A
next turn? This
madman.
is crazy. You know, you're getting a creature eaten, but he done the math and he
He's
had
supposed to
it.
win the
Yeah.
game. I mean,
What?
honestly, it seems a little
This is
unfair.
incredible. This is a deck which is playing, cards like draw 3, gain 3 life. Traditional, very much control cards, but like he's taken full advantage of the unique circumstances of this set to build a deck which has options, and as we see, he can just blow opponents down.
And
Really, really impressive.
Dom's, we've just got a notification that Dom's also won. We're just
Okay.
into the finals.
So
Aggro
feature
rules
draft
Zendikar,
up.
just
We
as it
will
should be.
have Dom Ellis from the feature draft in round 1 up against Damien, who you just saw, which is going to be very, very interesting. Wow, credit to Damien on
That
2
was
very impressive victories.
stunning.
Very impressive victories. I'm really impressed. Not just deck building's really good, but the heads up play to get aggressive, see the lion was fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris's deck was very good.
Yes.
Very, very good. So yeah, well done. This will be interesting.
All right.
I think we'll take a very short break.
And we'll be back with your finals.
Yeah, don't go anywhere.
Don't.
Don't
Just
go
stay
anywhere.
right next to your screen. Don't need to go anywhere for. Stay right there. We'll be back.
Hello and welcome to a packed house in time for the Magic Mates Monday Cup finals. We've got a pretty intense match coming up. Right now you see we're all here. See the name of the top?
You could say that we've assembled the party.
Hey.
Oi.
Thanks.
That's why.
And that's a wrap.
That's why.
Yeah, good night.
We'll see you. We'll see you next year.
Alright, so today we have Damien playing against Dom. Now, we saw Damien do a pretty violent win. Like, what was it?
It
13
was
damage?
savage. Yeah. I mean, yeah, great round. Two very different games. You know, it had a longer
Absolutely.
game one, a lot of card drawing and whatnot, and then a brutally efficient win in game two.
Oh, and now we've got the deck
Yeah,
list
so
here.
this is Damien's deck.
This looks like a very like kind of meat and potatoes party deck. There's no like synergy beyond party in general, but it
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the main things that jump out at me here are Allied Assault. It's one of those, it's the uncommon white trick. 2 and a white gives 2 creatures +X, where X is the number of creatures in your party. Can be a devastating trick, but you really need to be able to consistently have it, at least getting +2. So I think looks like he's got a really good spread of creature types here to enable that. Double Blade Master, interesting too in blue-white. Just the 1 utility knife to enable it. And the double relic file as well, outside of the cleric's archetype.
That is wild. What do you make of that?
I mean, he does have like a few sources of life gain here. You've got the Spoils of Adventure, Shepherd, Expedition Healer, Skyclave Cleric. He's looking at 4 to 5 ways of gaining life, and plenty of clerics to enable it. So I think it might be that extra source of card advantage, in particular that last couple of points of damage that he can chip away with.
and also for him worth noting, he has the undo inversion. So
Yeah.
he has in case of emergency, the game goes late. He has the
reset.
light to get to
Yeah.
that late game. Just blow everything up. I'll start again.
Yeah, so it looks like a pretty solid deck. And
Here we have Dom.
Yeah, so we saw this in round one. Really interesting draft. It was his draft that we took a look at the start of the day, and I think he definitely ended up leaning into a more controlling version of the build, which was, I think, kind of forced into that. His hand was forced by not picking up enough of the 2-drops to really take a fully aggressive route, but he definitely has the tools to stem any kind of early advantage that he's up against. You know, we definitely saw that against Dov's red-white deck, particularly with that Cinderclasm in the main deck.
I was about to mention that there's a lot of X1s in Damien's decks as well, so... Oh, and we're already getting underway. Okay.
All right, so looks like Damien's on the play here.
Leading with that plane, Dom plays an island, passes it back. So if you are Damien heading into this game,
So
do our players...
We've just been given an update.
Yeah,
Sounds
Dom. Seems like Dom's mulled to 5 at the start of this game.
Dom's
which
played a...
is
spare
definitely
supplies.
not where he wants to be. And spare supplies after the the 2-1 flyer has come down on Damien's side, which is capable of stealing artifacts. But sadly for Damien,
Right.
it's already on the battlefield. But I don't think Dom will be into the void on that.
Ooh.
Now that is a brutal start. Luminarch Aspirant, one of the best cards in the format, runs away with the games if it's not answered, and to see that on the other side of the battlefield on turn 3 is bad news for Dom.
Yeah.
No plays.
This could get away from Dom very quickly now.
Now, if he does have the Cinderclasm, though, we might see it in response to the trigger.
Yes.
Damien, I'm not sure if he knows about it, and if he goes to put the counter on...
Ooh, this could be a good 2-for-1 for the Cinderclasm.
And potentially even a 3-for-1 if he has it here, but
Dom's just
we're
letting
not
that
sure.
happen.
Yeah, well, at the moment, Cinderclasm killed everything on the board, right? So why not let him stick his neck out a little bit further?
Yeah, so Dom takes it. I mean, that kind of signals to me that he probably doesn't have it. I feel like he would fire it off there if he had it
Yeah.
and take the 3-for-1 happily, but he could be wrong. Dom cracks his spare supplies here and draws a card.
What an interesting play as well. It sort of signals weakness, right? Like, I've got nothing going on.
Yeah.
Which, if he has nothing going on, well, that's fantastic. But if he has the Cinderclasm here, we could...
It's true, you know, there is the potential that he's sandbagging it and potentially telegraphing that he doesn't have it, but I mean, that would be some 5,000 IQ stuff from Dom. We'll have to see if he has the brain power to pull that off. Damien thinking on his turn. Moves to combat. Trigger on the sack.
Yeah, well, I mean, Cinderclasm still gets it. And interestingly, Allied Assault here would be 10...
That would be lethal, I think.
Yes, it would be.
Easily. I think he already has. Wait, 1, 4, 5, 8. That's lethal now, so... That's the Blade Master.
Okay.
And Dom takes 7 and goes to 6.
Okay, so we were playing like he had a card that it seems he does not have.
I mean, he has an out here though. He does
does?
definitely have an out. No, I don't think he hits it. I think that's a
That was
channeler.
the channeler.
Is that a Cinderclasm secondly? I think it might be. Or is it a Cleansing Wildfire? I think it's Cleansing Wildfire. But he can look for it.
Does Cleansing Wildfire get the land untapped?
No. So he won't have enough to kick it. Although yeah, he hasn't played a land this turn, so
Oh, he did go first, didn't he?
yeah. So let's see what happens here.
So he's going through his deck. Perhaps
Grabs a land tapped,
he
and
knows what he needs.
he really only has one out here. I'm not sure if he has another untapped. If he has another land in his hand.
So it need to be land and Clasm.
Land and Clasm.
Land and Clasm.
Otherwise, it looks like this might be it for Dom. I think that
Okay,
was
he's
a land
drawing
at the top.
another.
Yeah.
Oh, that was it.
That's a quick win for Damien in game 1. I think Dom overwhelmed there after the mull to 5.
Yeah, mulling to 5. He did have an out. Like, that
Yeah.
game was live, but...
Yeah. But
After.
it was really only that card that got him out of that situation. And I think that really goes to show what an incredible threat Luminarch Aspirant can be when it comes down early. It just runs away with the game. I even think, though, given Dom's hand, even if that was 2-2,
Yeah.
I just think that Damien had too much board presence for Dom to really catch up at that point. Yeah, so a quick win, and it seems like Damien is going to head into game 2 with a lead.
Yeah.
Damien is using his electrician skills to unplug the light that does a glare on the cards
So
So
Right now?
right now.
right now.
Okay.
This is
Alright.
live, ladies
It's
and
an update
gentlemen.
from our producer. We have an electrician in the building who is also playing in our grand final.
Give you
Who,
one hint on whose that is.
Yeah, you could call him a thundering spark mage.
Okay. All right. There
Now,
we
that's
go.
actually a wrap.
I'll see you next year, folks.
Just cut away from the finals.
The significance of Damien being an electrician is that we're hoping that the glare issue we had previously will be taken care of. He's working on the light. So there you go.
You can see
Don't
it.
get that into at Grand Prix and Pro Tours, do you?
Nice.
So what's Dom's plan here? So we know that there's one card that's amazing that kind of means that he can withhold against that assault. But what can he sideboard into to kind of prevent this?
Well, I'm just looking through that now, and there's not the best amount of options.
I suppose he might be running more copies of the deal 2 damage or destroy an artifact.
There's a synchronized spellcraft, Thundering Spark Mage is potentially an option, but that requires some work. There is also sideboarding in 4-drop to deal with a 2-drop.
I would be surprised if he didn't bring that in because dealing 1 damage is good enough against Damien.
I agree, because if he can ping something with a number of X1s and then trade off the 2/2, I don't think Molten Blast is where he wants to be, particularly since he hasn't seen the Relic Vials yet. It might be different once he sees that, but I mean, I think the main threats from Damien seems like low on the curve, you know, and if he's spending 3 mana to answer a 1/1 or a 2-drop, I don't think it's really where he wants to be. I think that game.
That being said, the aspirant, you know, it's such a problem that
That's
maybe
true.
he just wants to have
That
one
does
more
need to be
answer.
answered.
Look,
Yeah.
there is a thing we need to introduce, and it is this fabulous trophy.
And that's of course what they're playing for today. Inside the small base here is $10,000 US. So that's the real first. No, that's the second prize, really. The sort of runners-up prize. Like the real power of today is being able to hold this aloft.
What is the Magic Mates if not the chance to earn bragging rights?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think both of our finalists have earned them here today. I mean,
Has the prize pool, in all seriousness, has the prize pool been mentioned?
Not yet.
It
no.
might surprise people. We do actually have quite a lot up for grabs beyond the trophy. I think we have
We have a full set of Kanzutaki fetch lands of every single play set of every.
I thought that was for the commentators.
we haven't broken the net.
Yeah, right.
I think box of Indica Rising potentially.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
boxes in
okay,
Racing.
that's
There's an NES, like a mini NES or a Lego.
Wow.
A
Lego
Lego
NES.
NES.
Yeah,
That's great.
really coming out with a solid prize.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of generosity from the community.
Special thanks to Andrew Manata and Patrick Hawkins again, because they are two of the providers for the prize pool.
Yeah,
and
massive thanks to those guys for that.
And also to Good Games Bondi Junction. This is their stream, and we're with the store with Milo.
Yeah,
And
they put
if
us up
you,
every week.
if you wanted to be in the running for the prize and meet all of us wonderful people, it's just as simple as coming on Monday night. I believe we've reopened for drafts in person. Is that correct?
Yeah.
There is
Oh, yeah.
registration beforehand is preferred, so
Sure.
we can get a gauge of how
But
many
yeah,
people
we
are
do
coming.
have in-person drafts. We've been running for a number of weeks now. We're very lucky here.
Yeah, and you can just head to
Australia
the
and New South Wales.
Magic Mate Sydney Facebook group and just join there, and then you'll find all the info for coming along on Mondays.
Yep. If you're not in Sydney, we do also stream most of the drafts. So if you're around on Monday nights from about 6:30, you can tune back in and catch the action. Again, won't be us commentating, but you can see the play.
There
prize
it
pool.
is.
There we go.
So Dom's deck is made up here of a Nintendo Entertainment System. Quite a strong play in the meta.
I mean, really, like that is a clear first pick, and any
It has no
pack.
counters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's running the full set of fetch lands as well. I mean,
Yeah.
landfall synergy is really off the block here.
Landfall Synergy thins the deck out.
Yeah, I really think with this kind of mana base, he'd be looking for all the Akum Hellhounds he can get his hands on.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Maybe an
certainly.
Omnath just to top the
Yeah.
curve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very solid.
Is that constructed playable? I don't know. Has it seen
It's
any
not-
play?
It's banned.
Yeah, okay,
I
right.
think Norton is allowed in now.
Oh, okay, sure.
And the box of Zendika Rising boost is lots of good sideboard.
And we've gone.
Here we are.
We're gone.
Game
Okay.
2.
I believe
Hopefully we don't have too many mulligans because that was really
John
a bit
appears to
disappointing.
count 6, but I can't see the full fan yet.
Oh, see, that's the advantage Damien has in this game. Dom, no playmat. Damien is clearly pulled in front there on the playmat
We
power.
were discussing earlier how yes, The anime Narset playmat entitles you to drawing an extra card at the
Yeah.
start of the game.
Yeah. Which I don't actually think Damon took advantage of.
Yeah.
Which was a really big
Wasteful.
mistake. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, NASA doesn't allow you to draw more than one card itself.
Oh, that's really good.
Well, your opponent.
Your opponents.
But still, yeah.
It's close enough to
Okay, so
yeah.
is this Damien on the mulligan, or is he just taking a bit of time to get going?
7. He's
I think he's on the mulligan.
Well, we don't. We
I
don't
think
know.
Dom's counted. Oh no, I think
Dom's
he's
got 6
Yeah.
or 7.
hard to see.
Plus, we know Dom. You know.
Ooh,
No,
okay, all right. It looks
However
like the
many awards
magic
are going
gods are
back.
going to split it right down the middle. Damien looked like he is heading off to 5.
Now,
We think it could. This. Yeah.
While we're waiting, we do have the other matches that are still going because this is a
Do we?
rare redraft. So the rest of the bracket still matters.
Oh, right.
To determine third through 8th place. Currently, in the final round, we have Jim played Yuan. Jim is winning 1-0. Dover is 1-0 up against Dennis, and Damon is 1-0 up against Chris. So, I mean, it's all to play for everybody. I mean, like a lot of this stuff is a redraft as well. All the rares and mythics and foils. We see any foils from memory? It's very hard to tell from our angle with the glare.
Yeah, not that I could think of.
yeah. So, rare redraft of the cards in the draft, but also, yeah, the better you do in the tournament, the higher up you can pick out of that prize pool, which is, obviously a big incentive for everyone.
And that is a frequent, that was actually the first time I ever heard of a rare redraft was Magic Mates, just while we're...
Yeah, filling time.
Yeah, filling time. Find out.
What is it? I'm seeing a lot of spells in Damien.
That looks
I think.
like... Oh,
Oh, he's putting
One.
back. Okay.
Putting back 1. And he's looking at all of
Could
his
this be a
spells.
second he's about to put
I
back?
think so.
yeah.
I think Dom has 7. I could
Okay.
be counting wrong. It's kind of
Okay.
hard to see, but I think he
Yeah.
has 7.
So
Help us a
advantage.
little
Yeah.
bit further forward, we
Dom.
can see properly.
Mm. But yeah, the rare redraft was, I think it was a little disappointing the first time I played it as a new player, but I think one of the biggest advantages, he's on 5, one of the biggest advantages is it just stops rare drafting, tanking, draft pools.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a
Alright.
Damien looks like he pulled that land as well. There we
Guidable,
go.
very similar to the game.
Mr. Steal Your Soul Ring.
So that's a good start for Damien. Base of threat's going to give him a bit of pressure, a bit of a clock.
Okay.
Dom being very
Dom.
kind of giving us a secondary
Pointedly,
life title.
yeah, ignoring the life total that
And he's
we
okay, so Damien's missed the land drop, but he's got a lot of power on the board. Okay, now this is interesting. Will Dom opt to trade off? I think he's priced into blocking here,
Yeah.
just because of how far
Would you block
behind
the
he
3-1
is.
or the flyer?
I'd probably block the 3-1 to preserve that life total, but you could make an argument either way.
Yeah. Okay.
It is a bit of a blow for Dom here, not being able to get your usual 2-for-1.
Oy.
So look,
It's not too bad. For
it's not the worst. It's not great for Dom, but it's not the worst. Okay,
Oh.
5 mana. We know he's got access to quite a lot of instant speed
There's the
spells.
land Damien
Question is
needs.
what exactly he's got.
He wants Living Tempest here.
Yeah.
And it does look like he might have it, just having a peek. Yeah,
yeah.
okay, so this is great. Damien really needs to play a
Ooh.
trick, but it does look like he has something.
Doesn't
Damien's got something he's playing
Ooh,
with.
this could be a real blowout for him if he's got the okay.
Ooh.
Still 2
Okay.
for 1.
Okay.
That's not so bad. That's not
Interesting.
so bad. I thought he might have something else. Okay, so here we go. Dom's not going to be too upset with his position he's in. Yes, he's facing down a couple of threats, and yes, he doesn't have a board, but he's got access to mana and cards in hand.
Damien, 3 lands, 2 cards in hand.
Also worth noting, he's got his splash color white available, so if you can find his Paladar Retreat, we'll be able to cast it.
A Bubble
Nice
Snare.
aggressive bubble snare. I like that play. Take no risks, just get it out. 2 for Dom and takes it.
Goes to 11.
It's 11. This is sort of the territory of which Damien, has got his wins. It's been surprising in both of his semi-final games. Managed to destroy his opponent from Wildbow on relatively high life totals.
And
Does he have enough gas here?
he does have party of 3, so any party spells, like the magic number here is 3. So it's very good. Dom would be wanting to kind of stem that tide a little bit.
Yeah, Dom's still drawing cards. I'm somewhat surprised.
Is it just a lack of creatures, or
I think
Possibly
he's going to play the 3-2 here. Yeah.
He does have an Insta Royal in hand as well.
into the royal in hand. Okay. Now this time around, I wonder if
Oh, the tap, Mr.
getting
Tapio boy.
dicey. This is getting quite dicey for Dom.
He's going to chilling trap.
Chilling Trap?
Okay,
Yeah, that's good.
that will draw a card. He does have the wizard. That preserves his life total, and he does have that 3/2 to block next turn. So that could have been a lot worse.
It's very
Draw.
I think he drew the
Cleansing.
spell we've been thinking of all day.
I think it was Cleansing Wildfire, potentially. Could be wrong, but...
It's interesting that's still in his deck.
He needs it to
Needs it
get
for
his
splash.
splash. Okay, here we go. It did come in. Spark Mage. This is a great draw.
Yeah.
It's only 1 damage, but that's enough to take out a creature and give him a blocker. So in terms of cards that he could have played there, this is one of the better ones.
And Dom opts for the tactics. I agree with that.
Damien asking him if he's sure he doesn't want to target his Bubble Snare Cell Sword. Nice touch there.
Uh-huh.
So this is also a wizard for Dom to turn on the flyer into the graveyard spell. Okay, this is interesting.
Just like that, clock's back on.
Well, it allows Damien to start by attacking the bubble snared.
I think
Ooh,
guys, that's an interesting
That's
choice.
interesting. Guess he
Nice.
wants to hit. He's got to hit something.
I think he just drew Felidar Retreat.
Oh well, that
Oh, he
is a massive draw.
Doesn't have any lands in hand.
Yeah.
Looks like he has
Doesn't have the lands
Channeler
in
as
hand.
well.
But he's got, that gives him a way to go over the top.
Another Expedition Diviner in hand.
I like this. Getting aggressive here. Putting Damien under pressure.
Good
Another
solid
Diviner,
defensive
and he's
play.
going to play out the... Okay, so this is a firmly advantaged Dom now. Damien's board position starting to dwindle.
Damien does have Spoils of Adventure.
Okay,
Oh.
that'll make it interesting.
But currently, that is castable from this angle, so gain 3 life, draw 3 cards.
Might
Feels
not
though he does
be-
need to affect the board a little bit.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Is the 1/1 flyer a cleric?
Yeah.
Yes.
So he does get that drain effect from the Relic Vial.
Yeah. Maybe the draw 3, gain 3 life here wouldn't be terrible.
It is interesting. We were noting earlier that Dom doesn't have a lot of creature removal. He has a lot of bounce effects. This may actually play out well for him, considering.
Yeah.
Embarrasses the bubble snares for sure.
Mm.
Interesting here, with a bit of a board, Dom may be incentivized to start putting counters on. Has the effect of growing his board, increasing the clock, and giving things vigilance, meaning
Yeah.
Damien can't get in. So I'm really curious to see what
think I would
happens
do
here.
the same. I also think interesting to note that if he, putting the counter here just really speeds up the clock.
Oh,
Oh no, he's gone for
well,
the.
we've
he's
got
gone
proof
for
that Dom
the-
is listening to the stream.
Yeah, he might just be waiting one.
Oh, double trigger.
Oh
This
my.
is awesome. So, Cleansing Wildfire has been played, getting another land into the battlefield. So I think what we will see is now the counters. But real heads-up play from Dom, getting that extra, basically getting the extra value.
Such a good decision by Dom there.
Interesting that
One more
if
counter,
he'd gone for the
please.
double counter there, he
Who's
would have
forced
forced the double
block?
block on the 4/4.
It's true. Neither option was. Ooh, this is-
Oh.
Okay.
So what does that do? Does that?
So
It's
it-
minus
Minus 2 minus 0.
Oh,
And middle.
okay.
okay. But there's a follow-up play. I didn't realize Dom had enough card. Oh, he would have drawn this card from the Cleansing Wildfire. So he's got his own trick, giving -4 -0 to
Yep.
the 3/2.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay, so no trades basically, but we're getting
Dom's mill.
Damien's taking 8 in the air.
going to 7.
So this is this is still very much advantage Dom. Damien's going to need to pull something out here.
And I think Ondu inversion may be a little bit beyond reach.
Yeah, little,
Yeah.
just 4 mana short.
I think Dom might have just casted Deliberate.
Yeah.
We didn't see it in frame, but he's looking at the top 2 cards.
Main
of his
phase
library.
deliberate. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he
It's
still
been-
has 4 mana open, so
One- If Dom has any sort of board, he has the ability to just run spells into spells. Like that's one of the powerful components of Dom's deck is the amount of cantrips, which really works well when you're applying pressure.
So Damien does have that spoils of victory, which does buy him a little bit of extra time. I mean, he has the extra 3 life.
yeah, it just feels
Time-
like too little, too late.
Time isn't really doing much for him here. He really needs to somehow apply a lot of pressure, but I just don't see a way out at this point.
Yeah.
It's not like he's anywhere close to the land drops for the Undo inversion
No.
either.
There's the extra land.
It's the
Kinda
vigilance on that that's really going to punish.
Yeah, very powerful effect.
Mm.
Believe it or not.
There we go.
So we're gonna have at least one chump. Ooh,
Oh,
wait, we got
Yeah.
spells. Okay, bit of life gain.
full party.
Yeah,
Draw
it's
some
true.
cards.
Massive. I wonder if he'll.
I wonder how many tricks you have left, and if there's anything that could significantly impact this combat step.
Just have
You
a-
might be able to keep something of his alive.
Damien's
Fine.
thinking.
Also to note, he has 2 mana available here to sack the Cell Sword potentially and
Yeah.
gain a life and draw another card. Still dicey
point.
spot for Damien though.
Fortunately, I think that's the only option. And
Yeah.
Thinking on impactful cards in Damien's deck, actually, the one thing that might help him out here is actually Allied Assault. If he can make it through this combat step and get to blocks next turn, I mean, he's still dealing with a lot in the air, but he can potentially eat one of the Diviners with the Flying Cleric
Mm.
and have another favorable block, but I still think it's very dicey.
I feel like he's gonna lose some creatures here, though.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Would try and
I mean, we were just noting Damien's one of 4 pit players in our pool that were drafting white, so the protection effects, the indestructible effects, they're so few and far between just as a result of that.
Mm.
Okay, we do have a little bit of action here.
Okay.
Just
Some
plus
spells?
2, plus 2. So it's still a trade though.
Right, he's dead, right? Is he taking 5? So he's taking 5 times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Ah.
Oh, he may have just.
I may have miscounted.
I think
He
he's probably
must
banked
have-
on. He's banked on a
Wait,
cleric.
did he gain the life from the
Trigger.
spoils? Yeah.
Yeah,
He was on
he went
yeah.
from 7 to 10.
Well, there we go. We have a game 3 in our grand final.
Mm.
Exciting stuff.
This is the way we wanted it.
Mm.
So
Seems like mulliganing to 5 was a bad decision.
yeah, I think I shouldn't have done that. For
Yeah.
sure.
I'll change my opinion, okay? That's what we want.
What are we thinking? Who's the favorite? Obviously, Damien has the option of being on the play if he wants it, which could impact things. Beyond that, how do we break the matchup?
I think it depends whether we see Cinderclasm or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, that seems like the card that's going to make or break this game. I mean, I don't know if Dom would be so keen to see it that you'd throw away a functional 7, but from what he's seen from Damien, it does win the game on the spot. It does hit flying creatures as well, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
hits everything.
Yeah.
So I think
One interesting, I do think Dom's deck has improved post sideboard, whereas I'm not sure if there was much that Damien could or has brought in that is going to make a big difference. But yeah, it does seem like, especially the Spark Mage, as you say, it's pretty much a guaranteed 2 for 1.
Yeah.
And that I wouldn't be surprised if there's like 1 or 2 other things which just sort of lowers the curve or just helps with dealing with the pressure.
yeah.
It's
Dom's
worth
deck.
noting, just looking at Damien's sideboard right now. In terms of the things that are in his colours right now, he has a Deliberate, a Mesa Lynx, and a Gate, which I think actually gets Dom maybe valuable. Just pitching off the occasional
It
combat
can hit the
trick.
Felidar
It's
thing
the Felidar
as
retreat.
I
well.
still feel like it's pretty narrow.
Yeah.
Probably
and-
not proactive enough, I think.
Yeah.
There's a field research if he needs extra gas, but I don't think he wants to be doing that on
That's the
turn
issue,
3.
yeah.
got quite
And
a
then
card
Smite the
draw.
Monstrous, but again, that's a very niche deck, and that's
Mm.
only relevant if you get Felidar Retreat already.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't seen anything for power naturally.
You know,
I-
yeah. What I do think is that I feel like Dom maybe needs more things to go right for him. In
Yeah.
that, I think that if Dom can hit his splash color
Mhm.
and play Felidar Retreat, or if he can hit Cinderclasm, then he's very much favored. But I think maybe in terms of consistency, I think that Damien's looks the more consistent deck.
Yeah.
Damien's deck feels more solid as it's just gonna blue-white aggro, get you dead.
And he's on the play in game 3, which means that even the Cinderclasm play, I mean, it does cost 3 mana to be able to do 2 damage to everything, which means he might be responding on turn 3, which is basically the last turn before it becomes irrelevant. He might be too far behind at that stage.
Possibly. I think he might have 1 or 2 more turns. If he can, if Cinderclasm gets cast in the first 5 turns,
Yeah.
Dom's favored. But yeah, I mean, it's like one of the things that like tight spots for Dom is the fact that he does have answers to cheap threats. Things like the -4 draw a card if you have a wizard card are ways that Dom can gain some tempo, turn the corner, right? But they rely on also having creatures on the board.
Exactly.
And so that's where it gets tricky for Dom. Similarly to 3/2 fly, as we saw, at certain points, doesn't look so good when it doesn't have another wizard out.
No.
And so not a great blocker.
Yeah, it's felt to me this in these matches that Dom's somewhat struggled to put creatures on the battlefield. Like it's been a lot harder because
He doesn't have that many.
And I think, I think that's where, that's what I mean when I say that maybe more things need to go right for Dom, in that he needs to draw the right cards in the right order.
totally agree.
And I think the lack of 2-drops could be a problem here, potentially, since, like you said, he's, with the chilling traps, he's really relying on having creatures on the battlefield. With the diviners, he doesn't really want to be in a place where he's playing a 3/2 flyer on turn 4 and trading it for a 2-drop and not drawing a card, So
I may interrupt. We do have a result from the lower tables. Damon Meredith has beaten Chris 2-0. So that is one of our semi-final matches, I guess, at this point. Been decided. Oh, not semi-final, but
lower bracket.
Lower bracket.
yeah. 3 through 6 places decided.
He's making our predictions of a Damon win look a bit better.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really good of Damien to do that, to make us look better by doing the thing we said he'd do.
Or Damon.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of D's today. It's a bit tricky.
That's true.
So I can only imagine that we'll be starting soon.
There's one thing I'd like to point out about Damien's playstyle. He's kind of been all in, which I think makes sense for the aggro deck, but even we saw before, he played Allied Assault and the Combat Trick into 2 open mana to steal the last game.
It's a blue deck.
Yeah.
I respect it.
Yeah, absolutely. It was the right play. It's just, if there's one, maybe a talking point, is that Damien is not just utilizing the aggro deck, but he seems to have a very aggro mindset.
Yeah. I feel like, maybe I didn't see the specific situations, but sometimes it's like...
We've kept solid 7s.
Okay, yeah,
Let
7.
go.
Alright. Turn 2.
Turn 2 play.
And we're seeing the cleric, the life gain cleric.
Yeah, Expedition Envoy.
Expedition Healer. 2/2 Vigilance. Has lifelink if Damien has another cleric, which he
does.
definitely does now.
Oh,
And that is a 3/3 Vigilance getting
It's
in
like
there.
it on turn 3.
The other thing, pretty
17.
heads up from Damien here, putting the counter on the 2/2. It's means Dom, whatever
has
he
the
answers, it's
Oh, that's really rough.
Dom has Felidar Retreat in hand, I can see, but I can't
I
see
don't
a
know if
white
that's
source.
enough. Just going.
Oh no, Dom needs an answer here. It'll be interesting to see if Damien chooses to put the counter on the healer here to enable another attack.
It is worth noting
Or-
Damien only has those 3 lands. There's none in his hand left.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Damien knows about the Spark Mage from Dom, is what I'm interested in here. So,
Opposite.
Okay, that really spells the trick.
so
There's
he
almost
could.
Okay.
there's almost just the likelihood of Damien not having a trick here is
Is
zero.
And Dom knows that.
All of which adds up pretty poorly for Dom, because there's now it's not unreasonable that Damien will hold up this trick into the next turn.
Yeah. To keep the aspirant alive here.
Yeah,
So with that in mind, do you just play into it and then just
I don't mind
dispatch the
playing it.
resource?
Is it it's the rogue.
Oh,
Oh,
that
that's
is bad. Because that's
disgusting.
that's an extra creature on the board for Damien.
And
then
another
we'll-
party time.
Red card and blue card. Both spells gone.
Yeah, so there's a very small
Oh,
window.
it's
It's a very small window for Dom here.
I also just wanted to note that Damien does have Allied Assault in hand as well, which could be devastating on
We
this
could have a
board.
very quick game 3 here, guys. We might be about to crown a champion. I think we'd be saying it As soon as
This
turn
early.
four.
Off the turn back.
The problem is now, if it's Cinderclasm and Damien's untapped with Allied Assault, that's a
Even Syndicalism, it seems too late. Like, even.
would kill
It was still-
everything.
I
Into
think
the
it's not
royal?
going to be an into the royal.
Into the royal to bounce the expedition healer.
So the question
Oh
here
my
is,
goodness.
Damien could just fire off the assault and give
2,
plus
4,
3, an extra
6.
6 damage here.
It wouldn't have been lethal.
So
but-
what this does open up is a Syndicalism
Hmm.
from Dom, if you can find one.
Damien taps
It
out
wouldn't-
again.
it would-
Ooh. Big turn for Dom here.
I think he has it.
It
see
doesn't
the
seem
card
like
we've
he
been
has
talking
it. That's
about?
4 mana.
That
This is not where Dom wants to
No.
go.
Yeah,
I think that could be lethal here, actually, unless Dom has a chilling trap.
that's
Well,
almost certainly
yeah.
lethal. Oh yeah, Chilling Trap could help.
Damien also has +2/+2 in hand, so if he can find another land here, another white
Thought,
source,
yeah.
then he's got.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
This is interesting.
Damien just looking
He's
for every
hedging.
option.
It's something of a hedge. He's saying, if I don't just kill you,
Mm.
I'm going to eventually get there.
Yeah.
With card advantage, but I don't think Dom would hate that.
No,
play.
I don't think so
Mhm.
either. Yeah, I'm actually interested in that play because with a full party assembled,
Yeah.
there must be some consideration
Is
there.
it
To just,
possible he doesn't have the Allied Assault? Or are we quite sure?
I'm quite sure. I'd be missing it, but I'm pretty sure. He has.
Looks
It looks like he does from my
Mhm.
angle.
Could also be that Damien's so far in front that just using the full party now and just trying to hit land drops
Mm.
just chokes him out of the game. Why risk it all on a one counter spell? Oh, sorry, one pump spell when everything on the board now trades. I mean, what's Dom supposed to do? He can't
Yeah.
not block any of these creatures.
Yeah, and it is also worth noting now that
Wait, didn't he just
James
have
had that-
lethal? And I guess if with the
Chilling trap.
Chilling Trap
Mm.
would have prevented
Yeah.
that.
the Dom is deliberately signposting the chilling trap. Do you think just to?
No, I
Don't
don't.
Damien play
I
around
don't
it?
think he'd be trying to signpost it. I think he just
Has
has to have it.
Mhm.
Like, it's just probably what he has. It would explain playing a 4-mana 3/2
Mm.
spot. This interesting here. Syndicalism
Huh.
is still on.
Attack with the aspirant with no white mana up.
Yeah, interesting. He might just have been. He thinks he's so far in
Yeah,
front.
I mean, I don't
He's
mind it.
willing to trade it off to get in extra damage.
Well,
Dom still has outs here. He's
Mm.
he if he's able to rip Syndiclasm, it's an even game.
I think Damien in casting that allied spoils of victory is
this is the. Wow. Okay.
So he's not saving. He's saving the life over saving the
Yeah,
devote,
and
which
which I
makes
think
sense.
he has to do.
Mm. So he still does
It
take.
goes to 4. Oh,
So here we
maybe
go.
even
Syndiclasm, no,
build our retreat and
but he
planes.
does have planes. Means you can play Felidar Retreat, but it's not going to get any value.
Yeah,
So
And
it's too late
I
for
have a
that.
funny feeling Damien actually has a
he
disenchant
does.
in hand.
He has
as well.
disenchant in hand.
Wow. Okay, so that's not going to do
well,
it.
maybe he has a negate. He's got blue up.
It's definitely I can see the disenchant.
Okay.
He might have negate, but either way,
He can't
Well,
cast
he can't.
Disenchant
He
now.
can't play
No,
it
no.
though. Oh, unless he also has Yeah.
Okay, interesting. This is sort of what Dom needs to do.
bubble
I
snap
wonder what
essentially.
this is. Bubble snap.
Double
Yeah.
snare.
The thing is, if Damon chooses to fire off his trick here, that's it.
Mm.
Oh, I wonder
That's
if he's
just the game.
And there's nothing for one red mana, right? That would possibly.
I mean, not that deals with this board. You could
No.
have, in theory, have the land,
Spikefield Hazard,
but
but yeah.
it doesn't deal with this board.
Really
I mean,
fine.
that's also gonna.
Oh, that's
close
also
out the game pretty
lethal,
quickly.
right? Because he takes 3 damage,
yeah.
and then a creature
Oh, no,
dies.
it takes-
and I think that's it. Yep.
Yeah, I think Tom's still on something here.
Oh, I just.
Oh, he just killed. He's killing.
No, I've,
Right. Oh,
I've declined
that's
the
right.
win in order
Okay.
to put. In.
Wait, didn't he
I
have
was-
+2/+2 in there?
He did.
No.
He did.
You know, did
It
he?
must have
He
been.
100%
Oh, yeah,
did.
that's it.
There it was the fist bump.
Oh,
And that's it.
What can men do
Yeah, he
against
had that
such
right there.
reckless hate?
Wow,
I'm not entirely sure how
that
that game ended.
is
Exactly,
the
but
cup
yeah.
to Damien.
Yes,
Mm.
Congratulations,
Congratulations
Damien.
to Damien. Also, I just wanted to say that given that he made the final last year and fell at that hurdle, Something nice about him making back-to-backs and pulling it
Yeah.
out.
Also with the blue-white deck this
Play-
time.
but he's the he seems to play to beat right now in these tournaments.
Yeah.
Huge credit to him. Funnily enough, he's the one person I spoke to who wasn't happy with his deck.
I think blue-white is an underappreciated archetype in this format. I think
Yeah.
particularly if you can get the spoils.
Yeah.
You know, it does a lot of work.
Yeah. I mean, Luminarch Aspirant helps, things like that help. But like,
helps a bit.
I think, he's taken a bit of a risk on getting the party assembled.
Yeah.
It's often proven difficult to get the whole party.
Yeah.
But he's gone for it.
And
And
just
and
like
our
that,
winner
a
has
certain
joined
a certain person's come here.
All right,
Congratulations,
take a
Damien.
second,
Woo!
congratulations.
How you doing, guys?
How you feeling?
Good sir.
Good.
That was
Right.
some
It was
pretty
tough
intense
games.
magic that
Yeah.
you displayed today.
Yeah.
Pretty heavy, yeah.
Run us through your thought process on the Multi 5.
Well, it was the one that landed on both, so I had
Not much for thought
No,
process.
not much thinking. Yeah. Both with an island, mainly white, so I had to. And then, I had to be aggressive. I did a wrong attack when attacking to the. I knew he had the 3/3 flyer flash, so I should have attacked with my 2/2. But I was thinking maybe he has removal on the flyer.
Oh yeah, and that was when you had to pump your 2/1 and lose the trick
do
and the 2
2 for 1
yourself,
myself,
Yeah.
and that was pretty bad. And then he followed up with a removal on the creature, and I was like, oh,
Can I also get a grading on Luminarch Aspirant?
that is.
Let it
That's
grade.
your one. That's your 1/1 on the.
That's your own. It's your best.
How do you feel about that card?
It's broken. The Federal Retreat is better, but
I think it did work for you.
just a fair bit, just a bit, especially in turn 3.
Damien, we spoke before the round started, after the draft. You weren't feeling too good about the deck.
Oh well, it's.
How
It
do you
doesn't
feel
have
about
it
it now?
Oh, now it feels a lot better now. I played the deck. I played the deck before, and you can get a lot of card advantage. Last time I played it, it had more removal, so I liked it more because I had an Each of the Royal, and I had a Bubble Snare, and something else and I felt like it had more on it, and this one had a lot of card draw, and I never played with relics before.
Really? Because when I saw 2 relics in your deck, I thought, God, Damien knows this card inside and
Yeah,
out.
that
And he's
was a very
decided
interesting,
that
yeah.
this is
Oh no! When
good enough.
I got him early, and then I got 2 of them MDFCs 1/3 relics. So I count my clerics, and I had 7. I was like, oh, that's enough. I just need the 1, and the 1/3 tends to stick around because it doesn't die as much.
Well, we may just begin with a certain amount of festivities. Damien, I'm happy to present to you the trophy for the
Thank you very
2020
much.
Magic Race Championship.
Thank you. That'll be my night table.
Yeah, that's nice. That's a nightlight.
Do you know what you're going to pick in the prize pool?
I don't know how the prize pool works.
Good question.
So
I think it's a redraft with the prizes, like different prizes as a card, effectively.
Yeah, I think we'll have to
Okay.
find out. I'm not sure exactly how it's all split up. That's a good point. But
Yeah.
no doubt it should be something.
Very,
exciting.
very impressive win
Yeah,
against a
that,
very strong field,
that game,
Yeah.
yourself included.
that round 2 was, in particular, was quite exceptional.
that
Some of
turn.
those victories.
I don't know what turn was that, but I think it was turn 4.
Really?
Yeah, with the 13 damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just always had 4 party members on your field.
Yeah, that's the thing. I have a pretty even amount of all the party members,
Mm-hmm.
and more clerics than anything else. I think the lowest is wizards.
Okay.
Mm.
I
Yeah,
think I have 2 wizards, just the
So the
Black Beast and
Geyser
the,
Mage.
and the 3/2 bouncing guy.
practice tactics.
Well done, mate.
Very
Well
good indeed.
constructed, well earned.
Yeah.
Well done.
I had two practice tactics.
Yeah.
They were pretty good.
Thank you very much, Damien.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Woo!
Thank you very much.
Go enjoy.
Right, we have our runner-up here, Dominic Ellis, feature drafter.
Bad luck in the final, but very, very strong showing today.
Thanks, Saki. Appreciate that.
How do you feel?
Yeah, look, I feel happy that I made the final. My deck I don't think was particularly good. I'm just very good at drawing a retreat
and your splash color.
and my splash card. It's somewhat bittersweet knowing that like both game 1 when I mulled to 5 and game 3, 1 card wins me the game.
Yeah,
Probably.
Yeah.
we were making that comment.
And yeah, and he wasn't playing around it. So I think if I drew it and I was drawing as many cards as I could, and
Yeah.
I have a little bit of regret that I didn't just like mulligan until I found it.
Yeah.
Knowing his deck is so much more powerful than mine.
Yeah,
But
it's a tricky spot though because I feel like Damien can't afford to play around it because like he needs to get creatures on the board and press his advantage, but you need it.
Yeah,
So it
yeah,
kind of just comes down to do you draw it?
yeah, exactly.
It must be said, the cleansing wildfire to get an additional trigger on your Felidar, that was a
Yeah. That's the first time I did that all day. It was
Well,
mostly just fixing.
because that card was in your sideboard initially, wasn't it?
No, it was in the main board.
Oh, okay.
The sideboard card actually was the wizard that does
Yeah.
X damage.
We talked about
We
that.
talked about that.
Oh,
He had so many X ones.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just-
Thought that seemed good. I think the tricky thing was the diviners. They just didn't really line up that well in your deck.
No.
Didn't want you're forced to trade off your
When you're in the
4-drop for their
back foot.
2-drop.
Yeah, yeah. The curve of my deck was absolute nonsense. Like it was just a lot of bad cards in bad spots. I started one 2-drop creature.
Yeah,
Played a whole bunch of 2-drop.
it was tricky.
cantrips.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, after the draft, we were, given the position you drafted well, but we were saying power level in the deck might be a little lacking. I think so. How you actually ended up putting it together was really impressive.
yeah, I was really
That-
impressed by that.
Thanks, appreciate
And
it.
it was not what we expected.
Yeah, not necessarily what we expected. I wasn't confident at all you would play the retreat. I definitely think though that the way you went about was right because without those 2-drops, the tempo
Yeah.
angle was always
Yeah.
going to run into issues.
Yeah. That was
Depending on your
really
draw.
really sick. I think too, given that we can now talk about how the draft itself shook
Yeah.
out, I think you got quite unlucky because to your right,
I looked at my
Jim was
right.
in black white,
Yeah,
and Damon was in green black,
I was surprised.
and so
I
you didn't see a
really-
single roller option.
Yeah.
You didn't see any of
Or
those
any more
payoff.
gold cards.
No real.
I'm thinking that they must have
Relic
been
Amulet.
a little bit like me in pack one and just been like a bit multicolored. Because
Good Games Bondi Junction just added this to the price.
oh my
Ooh,
lord,
if
we
you
have
just
a
wanna pass those
big
across real
prize
quick.
pool edition.
holy smoke!
Thank you, Good Games Bondi Junction.
Thank
Games,
you.
Thanks, Milo.
These
Forward-
what do we have here, Liam?
Core 2021,
Wow.
5 of them as the foil promo packs, and some regular promo packs for Core 2021.
That's
1,
okay.
2,
Yeah,
3,
it's awesome.
double digits. Let's just call it double
Oh,
digits.
another
I need
box.
to
Good.
And this one is actually going for the staff members.
Ooh.
Ooh, I'm
Did you
interested.
hear that?
Did you hear that,
chat?
As
Yeah.
one of the players, I should say while I'm here,
Staff
big,
members.
like enormous thank you to Alex B.
Yeah, Alex,
Big,
come,
okay,
come,
can you please
come show the
behind-
people
He
you
always like single-handedly funds and organizes this whole thing, and then
Yeah.
puts this amazing management.
huge amount of effort into organizing. Big love to Alex.
guys. This is probably the best paper magic of 2020.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which I mean, look, the bar is hugely high.
I'm happy taking that win and running with
yeah,
it.
yeah. No, it was really hectic.
Yeah, so great effort today, Don.
Great effort, Tom.
Bad luck on the final, but
Yeah, good
very
day,
well,
mate.
very well
great
played.
performance.
So far, the tradition has been second place one year is first place next year.
Ah,
That's true.
So next
Bigger
year,
and
you got
better.
another shot.
Okay. All right. I'll see you then.
All right.
I think we're about to wrap up, so I guess
Yeah.
we'll just take this chance to thank everyone once again
Mm-hmm.
for tuning in. Reminder, if you're interested in coming along, we're here every Monday, Good Games Bondi Junction, draft
Yeah.
at 6:30 p.m. We'd love to see you here.
come hang out.
There's the stream as well that's on most weeks. So yeah, don't forget to follow the channel.
Twitch.tv/GGBJ Milo.
If you're watching now, well, there's like a 50% chance that you're on Twitch, not Facebook.
And I just want to say thank you to Andrew Winata and Patrick Hawkins of the MTG
Oh, yeah, once
Bazaar for
again.
providing prize pool.
Thanks
Yep.
a lot for those guys.
And yes, we're going to bring back our lovely co-host. Oh, we're on
Well,
the prize pool. We're on
there's
for
a lot
rare
of-
redraft. This is a fun meta now.
Are we?
So how do we
Covering
breaking
this?
these down?
The rare redraft and they pick whatever they want.
But is the core like promo packs? Is that like
That's
one
one.
pick?
No. There's plenty of them, and it's one pack is one pick.
Okay.
So it's gonna be.
This is gonna be a long redraft.
It's gonna be a long redraft.
We don't have to
I
watch all of it.
yeah, I think we watch maybe the first. few
Big
picks
brain
and
play.
then-
I
Oh,
think
actually,
it's-
you know what? We should probably place our picks on what the first cards that tier order.
Polluted Delta. I think Polluted Delta playset. It is the most.
The whole playset.
Wait, that's like one pick. You get a playset of polluted.
I
Delta?
believe
Yeah.
no, they're in the pile.
Okay,
How
yeah,
much are they worth each?
I think
That's
it's that.
really
What
impressive.
are they
That's
worth?
wild.
If you want to, because I think
Quite a
Legacy and
Could be a
Modern.
50 bucks
they're
each.
Yeah.
Whoa,
maybe-
this is a big prize pool.
Yeah,
There's a
man.
couple $1,000s in here, maybe,
Easily.
in value.
Why are we commentating? We should just rob the giant.
Well, yeah, I was gonna go that way.
I mean, the doors are
well,
locked.
yeah, well, everything's being covered by the Ellis Crime Syndicate, so don't worry about it, kid.
So I think first pick is Blue Delta, second pick is Grackmore.
oh yeah, Grackmore too. So
Also,
Other
the
boxes gotta be a
Zendikar
big
Rising
consideration.
Collector's Booster box. That's think retails about $400 by itself.
Wait, really?
Wow.
Because there's, I think it's all foil or promo alternate arts, and then there's a bunch of rare and mythic slots in there as well. It's very good.
That's awesome.
Does it have any of the expedition
It
lands?
does.
Woo!
So it has
Woo!
wastelands, strip mines, the new expedition fetch lands.
I might leave it
You want
to
to
you
go
guys.
live in there? That's fine.
Yeah, mate.
This
I'm
point,
happy
I'm
to.
not sure if we need all
wrap up,
four of
yeah.
us, but you know, see what actually gets picked
Okay.
first.
Should we just engage
You know
in
what?
wild speculation? Is that what we're doing now? Or?
So Jim is still playing his game.
Okay. Oh yes, we do have one more result. Dover, who you remember from round 1, has beaten Dennis 2-1. It was a very hard-fought match, I imagine. I want to say
Hope
thank
so.
you to both of them for attending, and I'm just going to scooch on over to my appropriately dressed friend.
All right, back to back, absolutely.
This is how sitcom friends are. This guy.
Yeah. So let's engage in some wild speculation. What do you think of the next set, Caroline?
Zach and I are signing out. Goodbye. Thanks again.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, the total of the cool value has left the stream.
Yeah,
now.
absolutely. You're sitting with a couple of goofs.
We've got like professional
couple of
music,
goofs on the stream.
professional streamer, professional music producer. That's it.
I'm a dad. I'm just a dad now.
I have a cat dad. That's all I am.
Wait, you have a cat dad, or you are a cat dad?
Look, I'll be honest, the headphones are kind of screwing with my ability to
Oh
comprehend.
yeah, let's do that then.
I felt really alone. No one else is wearing them.
Yay!
Yay. I have a cat. He's 5 kilos and 8 months old. I'm not overfeeding him, I swear.
How often do you weigh your cat?
I weighed him once like 2 weeks ago.
He's
Just,
probably way bigger than 5 kilos now.
What's 2 weeks? If he's,
What, a kilo a week? Come on.
I think that's abuse. I think it's a sign of abuse. A kilo in a week, either way.
What are you feeding him? Butter?
I'm feeding him whiskers, so probably.
I suppose so. So we are still waiting for Jim's game. Nope, we are just waiting to go to the rare redraft.
We can wait. Jim's game is going to take very
Okay,
long
well,
time.
how about we just have a chat? So we're talking about Keldheim. So it's a vaguely Viking set. I'm actually kind of looking for that.
Very, very long. I mean, you can keep going if you want, but
We should probably go to a break. Are we going to come back for the rare redraft?
maybe not. Let's have a last look at what.
Okay, a little anticlimactic, but
No, it's great. Like
It is-
we almost talked about Coldheim,
I know.
and I think the people at home are glad that we're not going to.
look, not in a racist way, but I very enjoyed the Viking aesthetic.
How? Okay.
I mean, just go to one of
I know.
those places.
I know, but like you just. We should wrap up. We should thank. There have been so many thank yous already. I just want to say thank you again to Milo at Good Games Bondi Junction. Magic Mates couldn't exist in its current form without him, and it wouldn't have this amazing tech support. So
This is our home now. It's great to be here. I also want to say thank you to addition to Alex, we will have 2 more behind the scenes members. We actually 3 more. We have our amazing Judge Hash. He did a great job dredging all the decks, making sure we had as much information as possible so I could mispronounce card names and get them wrong.
absolutely, thank you, Hash.
Alex Ellis is a support staff for everybody today, just making sure everything worked out well.
The muscle for the Ellis Crime Syndicate.
And Miles Portick, who is apparently a roadie now because he brought me water. And
Or
he's also
Steven
helping
too.
everything
Bring
in
you
the stream.
water. Yeah,
I was
okay.
trying to make a joke for you to like make
No. Like I saw the joke and I decided to
leave me hanging.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, it's been a fun year. Been looking forward to this for months.
2020 has been a fun year.
I moved out of home and got a cat. I'm
Oh,
weirdly.
good for you.
I also got a job.
I'm glad 2020 has ruled for you.
Hasn't ruled for me. It's just been like a year of improvement for me. I got tested for COVID like 3 times. I've suffered it enough.
And you failed all 3 times.
I know, right?
Oh my goodness!
I
You've got to
didn't-
get on those. You got to work on those numbers,
I
man.
know, right?
Listen, if
And
you
I went to
really-
like rallies and stuff. I did a bunch of things. I also like the cafe across the road from my work got like 3 cases.
And you
I
missed it.
Dodged
You
it
missed
every
out,
time.
man.
I'm like Neo.
They're like 370 graphics cards. You just every time you just try and get one, they goes.
I'm a paper gamer. That means nothing to me.
Well, it's quite funny. It's really quite relevant and funny.
Chat's tuning out now.
So how would we go about qualifying for next year?
Well, the easiest way to qualify for this tournament is to win the next one.
Sure.
So we have every week we have multiple pods going. and person with the most highest average points. Alex,
It's highest total points.
highest total points or highest average?
It's actually best performance out of a certain number of weeks.
Okay, so say if you perform really well for 9, but someone else performs exactly the same rate for 10, they win.
No, I think it's cumulative points for a certain bracket. So there'll be like 8 weeks of competition, and then it's okay.
I'm not gonna
producer
lie,
Alex
when this like idea was brought up, we were at a pub at a birthday.
Look, it's
And Alex,
actually easier.
Aaron was yelling at you.
It's easier
and
than
then you
that.
decided to change it since he moved.
It's actually a very good idea that you brought. So I
Yeah.
hope he watches. It's quite simple. A season can go for a certain amount of weeks. For example, the current season would go for 16 weeks. It's quite a big one.
Turn the
Oh, I think they
been
can.
okay, most.
It's been okay. But we cannot expect people to attend 16 weeks in a row.
Mhm.
So what we do instead is we draw a line and we say, okay, for this season, it's going to be the best performance out of 10 weeks.
Yeah.
Which is roughly 2/3 of the length of the season.
Alright.
So that's how we do it. It's roughly 2/3 of the.
And it is important we have like an active ladder. So the people who are in the top 8 as of week 7, that is the first pod for that. So you're always playing as people of quote unquote relative skill. So you can't just be curb stomping the people who just came in for the first draft ever and just win that way. That doesn't happen here.
Exactly. So the first time you come, you'll be with people who don't have a ranking. But
Yep.
yeah, if you win your first week, it means that you are fast tracked to table 1 on the following week, which is going to be.
And that's why I won my pod and haven't been back since.
That's actually been my strategy. Like when I was coming back in the day before I had a human baby, I would win one and be like, "Oh, I'm great at Magic," and then go to the winners pod. I'm like, I guess I'm subject to the rules of chance like
Been there
everyone
too,
else.
bro.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is on Monday, 6:30. Good Games Bondi Junction. Join the Facebook group, and yeah.
Yep, it is a lot of fun. Like I will say this, I've been to Magic Mates since 2014, 15, and it's just always a good time. That everyone here is very friendly. We always make sure everyone's well informed. There's no like taking advantage of a new player. You are always welcomed in. We've had people come from all over the world, all over the country, and they've moved here and they've said this is a great way of joining up. We generally enjoy having more drafters because it means that we get more people, more opinions, and the main method that the main goal of this is to get better at Magic.
Yeah, which you definitely will. The better players of Magic that you go up against, the more your skill level will increase.
It says a lot that we have actual players who've gone to play GPs in foreign countries with foreign cards they can't read properly and have still done really, really well.
Yeah.
Like, we've had someone win in a Beijing tournament, and they can't speak Mandarin or read it, so they were just like, I know what these cards do.
Who reads Magic cards? I just play for the art.
Mm.
Well,
That's why Charging Badger is the best card ever.
strong entry. I can't argue with that.
Yeah, beats Nickel Balls every time.
Well, that's it for us. You have been witness to the Magic Mates Monday Cup and the highs,
you.
the lows. What was your favorite moment?
I'll be honest, the cleansing,
Eclasm?
but yeah, that in round 1 was pretty brutal, although can't argue with my preference for aggro strategies, and Damien's just, I'm just going to play Luminarch Aspirant and go forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's got 1 stop.
It's hard to argue with this Indeclasm as well. I kind of like seeing spoils as like vintage playable 2 mana, draw 3 cards, gain 3 life. I was like, that's Revolt?
Is that vintage? Oh, okay. I was going to say, like, I don't think it's vintage playable. There's
Well,
only
that's
there's
a
like
joke I've been working on. It's not very funny. Thank you for bringing it up. It's easy. I'll
I'm
leave
glad
you hanging.
I'm
You leave me
glad you're bringing
hanging.
your A material to the stream.
Oh, I got it. Yeah, thanks.
He's a dad, ladies and gentlemen. That's all you need to know.
All right.
job.
Well,
All right.
we're out of here. Have a
See
good
you guys.
night.
Bye.